Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BeerDad and Brewed podcast. As always, I am the host, the BeerDad himself, Justin Allen. I'm joined by, here we go, just for you, Sir Brandon from the hills of Agora. What's up, Brandon?
What's up, man? I'm starting to feel like I'm Sir Brandon from the mountains of Idlewild.
You are, because you're still here, and we are recording our very last episode of the year. Yeah, it's crazy. 23 is almost over.
Yeah, I can't believe it, man. It's been a fast year, but a year of very good beer.
Absolutely.
I feel like we've had a lot of great beer on the show, and also, yeah, just individually, it's been a lot of great releases this year. And a lot of great breweries we've been to this year.
Yeah. I mean, you just start popping off with all the breweries. I mean, we were just at Idlewild Brew Pub, great place. I'm glad you finally got to go there. And I mean, man, think about all the cool places that we've seen throughout the year, and so many favorites. We'll talk about them. It's kind of an end of the year show, but normally we do like a Christmas theme show, and this is kind of a Christmas theme show. We're in the mountains. We're in Idlewild. We're at the cozy cabin here, and the title of this show, what do we come up with? Cease and Desistmas? Cease and Desistmas, I think, is what we can.
Cease and Desistmas, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a shout out to a very nice movie studio who had a problem with the way the BeerDad and Brewed podcast enjoys a certain movie starring one Cousin Eddie and his RV. And I believe his shitter was full. But I can't say too much because I don't want to get another cease and desist letter from Warner Brothers. Oh, wait, I said Warner Brothers.
Are you serious, Clark?
Right? Like, oh my goodness. Are you serious, Warner Brothers? So anyways, we normally in our holiday Christmas extravaganza would be playing National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation in the background, but we are not. We are following the direct orders of the brothers that are Warner, and here we are. So we can talk about it. We can reference it because that's just free speech, right? So if so happen to say a few lines from the movie, that just happens, right?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah.
Nah. So, but yeah, and glad to be here with you here. Last year we recorded our Christmas show. I was here and you were, 3.5 hours away?
Yeah, just about. Yeah, I wasn't able to make the trip last year, but as you said, glad to be here this year. It's such a beautiful area and a beautiful cabin that you guys have up here.
Oh, man.
And what a great way to spend the final episode of the year.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for coming, and, beautiful scenery up here. It's nice and crisp and just an amazing place to be. So we also have an assistant here helping us out for the first time ever. Well, actually, technically not the first time ever. When he was a infant, he was on a show because we were recording, Josh and I, we were recording actually at my house, and I don't remember what happened, but I was on baby duty at the time, and he was supposed to be down for a nap, but he woke up to tell the world hello. So he was on a very, very early episode. So, but we are joined by the Hunt Man himself, Hunter, and he is here assisting us. He helped us hook up the equipment, and he's got his own little drink poured. And no, it's not beer, even though he says it is. It's coconut LaCroix. So, Hunter, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello.
There you go. Hello. That is Hunter Jackson, the man, the myth, the legend. 5 years old. He's a big 5-year-old. Thank you for helping, buddy.
Yeah, he helped us set up today, and he was pretty good.
Yeah, he's
knows
got
his way around the mixer.
He does, and right now he's
pouring a beer.
Just for the record, ABC Alcohol Beverage Control, the 5-year-old's pouring a LaCroix, a sparkling coconut water. But that was a good ASMR sound. So, but there is beer, and this is kind of our holiday episode. And so we kind of got together and got some different Christmas/holiday style beers for this episode. So we're going to start with one. So tell us about what you're going to crack open there. And for the sound creeps, you can open it for them.
Yeah, so we're going to start out with a beer from a brewery called Rincon. They're out in Carpinteria. They also have locations in Ventura and Santa Barbara.
Oh.
And here, I'm gonna open.
Here, let Brandon show you how to properly open a bottle.
Okay, so go ahead, put that down on the wood there for me.
There you go.
Perfect.
So we're gonna crack this beer.
Yeah. So well, I'll read the label as we after we pour it here. Okay. So I'm gonna put my mic down.
All right. So for the sound creeps, Brandon is showing young Hunter how to properly open a bottle of beer. Oh. Wow. Oh. Not for the ABC. We won't tell you what just happened now, but thanks for your help, Hunter. Appreciate it. That was...
Yes, thank you, sir. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pour this.
I didn't know there was going to be so much comedy tonight. No, you can have your LaCroix.
None for you, sir.
Yeah, this is something you cannot have. So we'll have some of that. All right. So this is looks like a little winter warmer here. What do we got?
It's winter warmer holiday ale. It's called Santa. It says here, brewed as a collaboration with our friends at Limonera. This beer uses the freshly peeled skins from their Santa lemons and oranges, as well as local wildflower honey from Blue Ridge Honey, California.
Oh.
Bursting with bright citrus aromas, it's the perfect way to ring in the holiday season. And great. This is just their holiday release. Again, Rincon Brewery. The original location is in Carpinteria, California, but they brew out in Ventura, California. Mm-hmm. That's their third location. And then they also have a location out in Santa Barbara, California. But yeah, really cool brewery, good food too. If you're looking for a pint and a good bite out in the Central Coast area of California, definitely recommend stopping at one of the breweries there.
Nice. I really like this beer. It has a lot of aroma to it, and it if you just approached it, you would think it was going to be really, really strong. But I don't think it's. It's just very approachable, very easy drinking. A lot of good flavor, and it definitely a winter Christmas style of beer. I really like it. It's good.
Yeah, what I like about it too is it's like that traditional winter warmer style, but with that like super citrusy, lemony vibe to it, which you don't really normally see on like a winter warmer style beer. So I thought it was like really unique. And of course, like that whole area, like Santa Barbara County is so known for like their citrus and just having like a bunch of just great produce and stuff. So you see a lot of beers out there that try to incorporate fresh fruit or
if you've never been to the Ventura area, when you come in and you're heading towards the coast and you're coming from like the Moore Park area or whatever, you cruise in like to the Oxnard Ventura area, you see a lot of like lemon groves, orange groves, and fresh fruit stands and stuff like that. So I could see that, and definitely the lemon in here is actually pretty good. I like how they it's subtle, but it's there. It's good beer.
Right. Yeah, it is good. Yeah, they have a lot of good beer, Rincon, and they're starting to get more widely distributed as well. Like I started seeing it a lot in grocery stores and stuff out in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think when they moved into their Ventura location, they really started to ramp up production because the Carpinteria location is so small.
Right.
But yeah, they have really good, solid beer, and like I said, really good food too. So,
awesome.
Yeah, I recommend anybody listening that's in the area go in for a pint and a brew. It's really
going
good.
For some Santa. Now, what are they calling this? Is it Santa or is it the?
It's just called, I know. It's kind of confusing, but it's just called Santa.
Okay.
And I guess it's a collab with Limonera, which I'm not super familiar with. I believe I'll have to look this up, but I believe it might be a farm that does lemons and oranges.
Okay.
Yeah, or an orchard rather.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Careful, buddy.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Hunter's checking out the bottle here. Who do you see on the cover, Hunter? Santa. The man, the myth, the legend, who comes once a year, right?
What did you get from Santa this year?
What's your favorite gift from Santa Claus this year? Tell him. You got to actually
Sonic rings.
Sonic rings. Yeah,
Whoa,
the boy's into
cool.
Sonic the Hedgehog, so he got some They're the actual rings that, when you'd play the game and Sonic would run the tunnel or the loop and you'd collect all the rings and it would make that noise, and so they're the actual rings, and when you grab them and run with them, they make that noise like you're getting the rings like Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's pretty cool. I never saw any of the new Sonic movies. What do we think of those, Hunter? You like the new Sonic movies?
Do you like the Sonic movies?
Yes.
The man of many words, yes.
It's a good review.
Yes. So speaking of Christmas presents, Hunter told us that his favorite this year was Sonic rings. Brandon, can you remember your favorite Christmas present as a child growing up? Like all time, just amazing Christmas present.
Yeah, I don't know why I feel like kind of embarrassed to say, because it's not like nostalgic at all, I guess. I like, it's not like a stuffed animal or a toy or anything. It was just like a PlayStation 2.
Okay.
I remember when I got a PlayStation 2 for Christmas and I was so excited. Yeah. Like, man, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Oh, dude, don't get me started on that game.
Yeah.
Many hours were spent playing that game, over and over. And here I am doing everything I can. That one, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, the systems were always big years for me. I can remember one year with my cousin Katie that passed away this year. I miss her. A shout out to her. Katie was awesome. She loved listening to the podcast.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
But I remember her and I, the same year, she got a Super Nintendo and I got a Sega Genesis, because for some reason that's what I wanted. I really liked Mortal Kombat, and so I remember that year. Santa Claus brought me the Sega, brought her the Super Nintendo. Several years, the systems were always big. I remember getting the Ghostbusters Firehouse. That was spectacular. That was a really cool gift. All the Ghostbuster action figures. A lot of action figures I was into, as a young kid. The systems were probably the biggest, but one thing I can remember, my grandma Betty, she always was amazing at Christmas time, like with the magic of the season. And I'll never forget one time I wanted a stereo system. It was when CDs had just come out and they were not cheap, right? I wanted one so bad, and it was just kind of a low-key Christmas that year. We didn't have all the family down, so it was just my mom, my grandma, myself, and I believe my aunt that was staying with us. And I remember I wanted that stereo system so bad. I wanted one of those ones with like the carousel in it, so you could have like 3 or 4 CDs at one time, and it had the tape decks, like the whole thing with the 2 big speakers. And she was so good at making like magic, like opened all our presents, right? And I didn't get the stereo system. Damn. And I was borderline disappointed, but I would never be ungrateful for what I got. I got a lot of nice presents and stuff. I have a couple video games and clothes and different things. I was a little older at the time. I want to say I was like 11, somewhere around there. And so what it was is we had a smaller tree and we had this stand. It was my grandma had these like antique like chests, like the old chests that you would use for storage. You put a key in it, open it up, and you store stuff in there. She had a whole bunch of those. So we put like a Christmas drape over it and then put the tree on top of it. So we went through the whole Christmas, right? Christmas dinner, everything, and I did not get my stereo system. My grandma says, I need you to take the Christmas tree down. Let's get all the ornaments off. Let's get it down. It's all almost kind of dead. I don't want it to catch fire. Let's get rid of it. This is Christmas night. Normally, most of us, because we're lazy, we leave the Christmas tree up for a little bit. And, oh man, this was funny. So me being kind of bitter a little bit because I didn't get my stereo system, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll help grandma, because I always help grandma. And so took down all the ornaments, got the tree down. And then she's like, can you, get that drape and go shake it off out on the front lawn, get all the needles off of it. So I go and I pull, it was like a gold, like Christmas cloth. I pull it off of what was the chest. And then there's this bright gold package in the same shape of the chest, like a big package. And it says Justin on it.
Oh,
and I was
it's
like,
a Christmas miracle.
I was like, no way. And she's like, what is that? And I was just like, no, it can't be. And she's like, well, it's got your name on it. You better open it up. And boom, I opened it up and there it was. It was a I want to say Alpine or JVC, I can't remember, but 3 CD carousel with the double tape deck with the AM FM with the big speakers, remote control. I was on cloud nine. And it was funny because I almost was going to say something about being upset about not getting it, but I didn't. And I feel like if I would have said something, maybe they wouldn't have let me have it. I don't know, but that was one of those like special like Christmas memories, my grandma like really, making it special for me.
That's
because
awesome.
then that stereo meant so much to me, because of that. And my grandma was always good for stuff like that. Like another time I got a bicycle and, she tied a string from the backyard where the bicycle was at, ran it all the way into the house with a note that said, "Follow me." And so follow the string all the way into the backyard to the side of the house. There's my brand new bicycle.
Whoa.
So yeah, grandma definitely, I miss her dearly. She's the most amazing grandma ever. But, Christmas memories like that is what I like to do. And like what I like to do for these kids too, and you'll know one day.
Yeah.
You'll have some kiddos. By the way, we have to announce that, right? Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Brandon and Bex are engaged. I guess you can use that word, right?
Yes, sir. Getting used to saying fiance instead of girlfriend. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, super excited. Yeah, we had a nice little trip out to Utah and got engaged out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we went to Zion National Park and Bryce Canyon National Park. Two
beautiful locations.
Yeah, really beautiful, man. Like no picture can do it justice. Like you got to go out there in person to see it. But yeah, really glad we went out there. Beautiful. And it was a great place to get engaged and spend some time.
That's awesome. Congratulations to the two of you.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for you to partake in the wonderful world of parenthood that's going to be around the corner for you. So I wish you guys nothing but the best for that. And I'm excited.
Thank you, man. Thanks. I'm excited too. Yeah. And I've always loved kids and, just being around, you and your family and stuff too, just, makes me excited. But yeah, I know it's a lot of work. Obviously it's not.
It is. It's not, it's not easy being a beer dad. Let me tell you.
Of course.
But it's definitely rewarding. I mean, I love my kids. I got all the different, age ranges with them, but it's definitely something, you can, just look back and be like, man, like all these great memories that you make with your kids and stuff like that. And of course, like I said, I mentioned some stories about my grandma and I have some about my mom and dad too, that I try to pass along and bring, and my wife, Amber, she's the Christmas freak, if you will, in the family. And she goes so far to make everything just so perfect for Christmas. And you definitely have to appreciate that. And I know our kids will appreciate that too. So, but yeah, that's, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's really awesome, man. Like, yeah, those memories, even like, what you were just talking about, with your grandma and just getting, those different gifts and whatnot and having those memories and those experiences, getting to do that for your kids. Like, just getting to see like the holidays through like a young kid's eyes again.
It's really
it's got to be a beautiful thing.
It's really cool. Like just, I complain because the kids get up really early Christmas morning because, beer dad needs his beauty sleep. But then you feel better, like even though you're tired and it's like 6:30 in the morning and they're running through the house. Oh my gosh. But when you see their face when they come to the living room after Santa's come and visited and they're just like, Santa was here. And they're just so excited. Like, it's like, whatever. I'll have a cup of coffee. I'll be good, So yeah, definitely the Christmas season is one to enjoy with your children for sure. So I'm looking forward to that for you guys.
Thank you. So what do you guys do on Christmas morning? What do you do? Like, do you leave like milk and cookies for Santa? Like,
leave a
beer?
Over the years, that's kind of changed a little bit. So there's definitely been some beers left for Santa. So this year, Santa got to partake in some Dad's Hawaiian Shirt Hazy Double IPA.
Lucky man.
So we figured he had a lot of work, and by the time he gets here to the West Coast, he's tired. And he probably needs something to just chill out with, right? He's cold. The altitude flying in that sleigh, it's got to be, freezing temperatures up there. So have something to warm him up a little bit, feel good, and maybe feel a little tropical, like he's back in Hawaii or something like that. And so Gave him some Dad's Hawaiian shirt and cookies and milk to wash it down. So
wow, lucky guy. Yeah, I always like to think that he's got like a thermos up there just of beer.
Oh yeah,
I had a beer last night I had one of those stouts from Goose Island, like Bourbon County.
Bourbon County.
I had
year
the
they come
cola
out.
one. I don't know if you've had it or anyone listening has had it, but yeah, they have one they did in 2021 that is just called cola, and it tastes like a rum and Coke.
Oh wow.
But it's beer, of course.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, this has got to be what Santa has in his thermos when he's like wheels up in the sleigh on Christmas Eve going and...
Got to get yourself going. And if you think about it, I don't know, I look at it this way. Some people are like, we can't give beer to Santa. You know, you can't drink and drive. Well, technically, Dasher and Prancer and Dancer and Comet and Cupid, Donner and Blitzen, they're the ones driving the sleigh, right? So technically, it's like he's a passenger in a way.
Totally. I totally agree. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think you're doing Santa right by giving him a little.
And I think my all my buddies that I know on the patrol might agree with me as well. I don't think Santa's getting a DUI. I really don't. Now, if Donner and Blitzen and Comet and Cupid and all those guys, if maybe they get a little nip of something and you know the sleigh's not going right, maybe. But Santa Claus, I think he's immune.
Yeah. He's just got to fit down. I mean, he's got to like shrink down. Fit down the chimney, you know? So I guess maybe drinking beer and like slimming down to fit in the chimney is not great. But other than that.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have given him a double IPA. I should have kept the Crispy Boy out for him.
Yeah.
In a little light lager or something like that. But I felt he needed something tropical. So that's what he got.
Yeah. Think warm thoughts while he's up there. Right?
Right, yeah. It's tropical. Let's do this.
Should we get into this next one?
Let's do it. I'm excited for this for you. I actually got you a can too to take home so you can share it with Bex and enjoy it. This is something that we've had on the show before, but you've never had it, and this is called Holiday Hijinks from Ironfire Brewing. Really, really cool sour style ale. Oh, you could smell Christmas and hear Christmas all at the same time. So this is something really wild. For first of all, when you pour it, it looks like cranberry juice. Oh yeah, but it is cranberry and apple and cinnamon and nutmeg. It's like Christmas in a can.
That is so nuts. The nutmeg aspect of it. Well, first of all, totally looks like cranberry juice when you pour it. It almost reminds me like it's got like a similar. I mean, the viscosity is a little like less, but it reminds me of that red velvet beer that we had.
Yeah, from Ironfire.
Yeah,
the
from Ironfire,
collab they did with
brewery.
Oscars for the Nunca Muerto.
Right.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Oh, that smell.
Isn't that great?
The aroma. Oh, that's good.
It's like Christmas in a can, for sure. And I love the can, too. If you look at the can art, you know, something hip there with like the skeleton Santa Claus, but then also you see Frosty the Snowman and Elf on a Shelf on the can.
That is so good. It's, God, that reminds me of something.
It's good, huh?
Oh, that's beyond good. That's like... Whew.
Yeah, to give you an idea of how good it is, I cracked a can, I think the first night we were up here, because I bought a bunch of them. Shout out to Ironfire. We're actually going to have another Ironfire beer here that was gifted to us. But I popped the can open, and I had the mother-in-law and the wife try some. And, you know, everyone knows the beer wife is very particular about beer. There's not a lot out there that she likes. But we have found some over the years. And on this one, man, she was like, whoa, wait, this is good.
Yeah, and this is one like I feel like you could drink like Christmas morning, like like for your juice in the morning, or you're having Christmas breakfast.
Yeah, well, I may or may have not. We were talking about this on the way from town. I may or may have not partook in one of these while we were driving around Christmas Card Lane.
Hey, I mean,
it's the perfect beer for looking at Christmas lights, enjoying the Christmas season. You know, obviously this isn't a beer you're going to drink every day, although you could because it's really easy drinking. And more so like a dessert beer, you know, because it's real sweet and it's a sour ale. But it really does make you think of Christmas. I mean, you think of Christmas dinner, like, you know, for us, we had, you know, we mentioned we had ham, we had lamb, but my mother-in-law every year always makes a really good homemade cranberry sauce. In fact, I might get you some. We still have some in the fridge. Probably, I still like cranberry, like the canned cranberry that most people have on holidays, but hers is just like next level. It's like cranberry and orange and spices, and it's really good. I've always wanted to actually make it into a beer, and I might do that one day.
That could be good, yeah.
But this beer, Ironfire, you guys have done a great job with this one. Every Christmas, I definitely recommend heading down to Temecula to pick some up.
Totally. Yeah, like, I can't believe how good this is. Like, the nutmeg is just, it hits all the notes on the can.
Yeah.
Like,
it literally, sometimes, you know, you see some beers, you know, it doesn't have to be beer. It could be sours too. But when you see the can and it tells you cranberry, apple, cinnamon, nutmeg, Hunter, you are out of control. But you taste every single one of those in this beer. Like, I can taste cranberry, obviously, is very prevalent as far as the main ingredient. I can taste apple, I can taste cinnamon, and I can taste nutmeg.
Yeah, and it almost in that order too. Like, you get it, each one of the ingredients just kind of like goes, just one at a time. It's really good, man. Yeah.
Who's Hunter? We're looking at this can of Holiday Hijinks. Who's that on the can?
Frosty,
and then who's that right there? Oh, he wants to hear himself. He's got his headphones on. Who's that?
Elf on the Shelf.
Elf on the Shelf. Very good. And Santa Claus. So we got a little mix of everybody on the can just for Christmas. He's going to keep the can. He likes it. He's pretending to drink it. Don't worry, folks. It's empty. He's good.
Yeah, it's funny. My mom loves making cranberry sauce for the holidays. She makes like 5 or 6 different types.
Oh, wow.
Which is nuts. And yeah, so like on the table with the bread, and she's got to make like 4 or 5 different types of bread. My mom loves to bake and to cook.
That's cool.
And,
she would get along with my mother-in-law. That's the same.
The funny thing is like, it doesn't matter if there's 20 people or 3 people. There's been times where, because I'm an only child, there's been times where it was just me, my mom, and my dad for Christmas. Yeah, my mom will still cook like if there's like 30 people.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's overwhelming because then like you feel like you got to try everything, and I feel like yeah, it's overwhelming. But she did like 5 different types of cranberry sauce this year.
Yeah,
and whenever I ask her, I'm like, Mom, why do you make all this? Like, this is too much. She's like, you know what? I like it. This is my Christmas present. Like, I love doing this.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, but it stresses you out. Like, you get so, you know, and she's getting older, so it's tough for her to, you know, cook these big productions. And yeah. But the older I get, I realize like, oh, to her, this is Christmas. This is the holidays for her. And but yeah, she does like cranberry peach, cranberry orange, cranberry, I don't even remember all of them, but it was nuts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how you even like pick out of the 5, but
yeah. So we're talking about Christmas dishes. What's during the Christmas holidays, what's your favorite thing that you always look forward to at Christmas dinner? Man,
I love a good mashed potato. I'm a basic bitch. Like mashed potato with either like just the ham, turkey, as long as there's like a good mashed potato, I'm fine.
You would like my wife's mashed potatoes. So it's funny you say that. I actually never really liked mashed potatoes that much all throughout growing up. I always loved sweet potatoes, which is weird. Most kids don't. But I did. Mashed potatoes, I don't know why. Maybe just because I didn't have the right ones. But my wife, when she makes mashed potatoes, she will essentially mash garlic into the potatoes and heavy whipping cream and butter. And when you bite into these potatoes, people put stuff on top of them. You could eat them plain, and I do sometimes. Every once in a while, like at Thanksgiving, I'll put some gravy on there. But it's just the flavor with the seasoning and the garlic and everything and the heavy cream. Like, they're so creamy and they're just so like garlicky. Like, you don't need nothing.
Damn. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, shout out to the beer wife. She can get down in the kitchen even though she doesn't like to, or she'll tell you she doesn't like it. But she has a craft. She can do it. She pulls it off.
So was it your wife that did Christmas dinner this year? Your wife and mother-in-law together?
So it was actually a mix this year. So my mother-in-law made the ham, and my wife made scallop potatoes, not mashed, this year, which was funny. And they came out good, and we talked about it earlier. I'm not a big fan of scallop potatoes, but I like those. And then my brother-in-law was here, and he made lamb. So we had ham, lamb. I feel like that lady in the ham, the lamb, the potatoes, the mashed potato. I love it.
Macaroni.
But yeah, we had macaroni and cheese from Costco. Shout out to Costco. We had what else? We had like a Mediterranean platter that had like the olives and the olive spread and the little cherry tomatoes with the cheese inside. Yeah, so it was kind of like a combined effort, I suppose, in the kitchen. Everybody did a little bit of everything. Of course, the BeerDad, he might not have done too much.
Yeah, you drank the beer.
I drank the beer, and I taste tested a lot, so and I kept everybody, I ran a tight ship. I kept everybody together. I was like the general manager of Christmas dinner.
That's important. That's an important role. Sometimes you need somebody sitting there drinking beer saying, yeah, that looks good.
That's right.
Yeah, that looks good. All right.
Yeah. It's here. You want somebody to taste that? By all means, I'm here for you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just fuck off and go watch football and drink beer.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You were watching the camera here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we had an amazing dinner. Everything came out really good. Like I was telling you earlier, the lamb was really phenomenal. Matt, my brother-in-law, he I think just a little lemon pepper and some garlic, and that was it. And it was tasty.
Wow.
But yeah, it was great. As far as like my favorite Christmas dish. Well, when I always think of Christmas dinner, I always think of ham, and I love ham, but usually it's the sides that get me. And like I said, whether it be sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, stuffing, or whatever, I live off the sides for sure, more so than the main the main course. And then when you go back for seconds, usually it's just all sides.
Yeah, yeah.
Although this year, I think I switched that up. This year I had seconds, and it was just lamb. Because, like I said, I don't get it very often, so it was really good. I think I had total first helping 3 lamb pops, and then I think I had 2 more for my second help. So I had total 5, so almost a whole like half a rack. It was good.
That sounds really good.
It was really, really good. So Hunter, what's your favorite Christmas dish at dinner? What do you like on Christmas dinner?
Ham.
He likes the ham.
Nice. Smart man.
Yeah, he ate a lot of it too. Him and his little sister, they put it away. Ham's always good. It's always good the next day. We make like an egg bake or a omelet or something with leftover hams.
Yeah, or a little ham sandwich.
Yeah, I got some leftover Hawaiian rolls. Make a little Sammy. I like what you're thinking.
Killer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Man, this is really good. It makes me want to go try more, sours or like just dessert style beers from Ironfire.
Yeah. They're kind of they're one of the older, I don't want to say old breweries in Temecula, but they've been around longer than some of them, and they do a great job. Tap room, smaller tap room. They're kind of an industrial complex over there in Temecula, and I just highly recommend going there and visiting. All the beers that they make, they have barrel aged, they have, sours, stouts, lagers, pilsners, IPAs, whatever you're looking for, they have. The brewer who we met on the show does an amazing job there. So definitely highly recommend it. If you're in Southern California and you're in the Temecula area, go visit Ironfire. Go check them out.
Yeah, Temecula is really cool too. I had never been into that Old Town area.
Yeah.
Until we did the show over there at Quail. Right? Yeah. Yep. Shout out to Quail. That was a really fun episode. That was one of my favorites that we did.
That was cool. That was like a mega episode. Like, I don't think we've ever had. I mean, to my knowledge, I don't think we've had multiple breweries on one show. That was the first time, and that was really cool.
Really cool. Very fun. lots of good insight, and just cool to see those guys like bro. Like always cool to see like brewers from different breweries bro out.
Yeah,
you know, I think we always like geek out on like, oh, the collabs, or like, oh my gosh,
that's
these
so cool.
two breweries are coming together. So yeah, to like kind of get to see that in person and hang out with them.
It's almost really like cool. It's almost like music industry, like when like a big rock star gets together with another one and they do a song on their album, or two rappers get together, and do like a collab, and in the brewing industry, it's really cool to see. Everyone come together and to have them all on one show. That was really cool.
Yeah. And, it was just fun being out there like right before Halloween and just doing the Nunca Muerto, beers. That's a really cool program that they have going on.
Absolutely.
Out there. And just kind of spreading awareness about, Dia de los Muertos and getting breweries to kind of come together. And yeah, really cool.
Yeah. I shout out to Joe from Oscar's Brewing for setting all that up. He's such a cool guy. Amazing brewer. We've talked about Oscar's Brewing in the past, and we might do another show there. We did one about a year and a half or so ago. And he's just nothing but fire coming out of there.
Yeah.
It sucks, for them because much like Don, at Idlewild Brew Pub, the way that a brew pub license is, you can't really distribute your beer, although we're kind of helping getting some of the Oscars product spread around because he's so talented and he makes some amazing beers. It's really cool to see some of them, out there in the wild. And, like I said, we did a beer together, him and I, and it's fun to brew with him. You could tell he's super passionate about it. Like he loves brewing and just loves to go in and do his thing and sit in his little folding chair and listen to music and rock out and brew the beer. And he's definitely got a passion behind it. So shout out to Joe as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. He was a really cool guy, and 8-Bit as well. Earlier that day on my way in to Temecula, I stopped at Murrieta and I had lunch at 8-Bit, and I know I already told the story on the podcast before, so I won't tell it again, but just shout out to 8-Bit. They brew some amazing beer, and I found out about 8-Bit through, from listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Which is cool because I feel like, that's one of like the goals of this podcast is to just spread awareness about great beer, great breweries, great brewers.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that like I found out about 8-Bit because I really love their stuff. And
it's definitely the hidden gem, I'd say, in southern Riverside County is that Temecula Murrieta. I mean, definitely a hotbed for some of the best breweries in Southern California that some people might not know about because, you think craft beer, you think San Diego, Orange County, Los Angeles. But when you get up into the Temecula area, like, man, look at all that fire that's up there. Solaris and 8-Bit and Ironfire, Relentless. Who else?
Garage Electric.
Inland Wharf. Temecula Brewing and Inland Wharf both just announced that they were closing, which is kind of a sad deal. Inland Wharf's gone through a couple ownership changes, so someone might take them over again. We'll see. But they have some good beers there for sure. But everybody out in that area, there's a lot of good breweries, and you could spend a whole day out there and visit a dozen breweries if you had the time.
Yeah.
But highly recommend some of them. And Ironfire, no different. You definitely have to get to Ironfire and try some of their beers.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that that whole area could go toe to toe with like any San Diego, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara,
absolutely. I mean, if you think about it too, in the past with, the beer nerds and everything, like all the beer trades and stuff like that, I remember Electric kind of put that area on the map. I mean, people from all over the country, can you get to Electric for me? I'll pay, $80 for a 4-pack. And it's wow, you guys are crazy. It's kind of like the monkish of that area, and it was I just remember some of the people that I would trade beer with, they would have you got to give me Electric. It's 30 minutes away from my house. It's, no big deal. And some of them would offer big money for it. And I'm like, no, whatever the cost is and you pay for your shipping, I'm good with that. I don't need to make money off of you. So, but yeah, the area is really nice. And Ironfire is one of them. This Holiday Hijinks is an amazing beer.
Really good. Probably my honestly my favorite Christmas beer I had this year.
Oh wow,
no smoke. Like,
well, the night's still young.
Yeah. Okay. Should we get another one?
Let's do it.
Anything calling to you?
I think we just had something really sweet. So I know we have another Ironfire, but I have a feeling that one's going to be sweet too. It's a barrel aged beer. Let's do an Imperial Stout. Let's go. Let's do this. Because this is going to be cool. Really cool for the brewery and cool for us. The Big Lebrewski. Let's do this. The dude abides. The dude definitely abides. So, the Big Lebrewski is a White Russian Imperial Stout by Carbonation Brewing in Riverside, California. They are a brand new brewery. They've been open for, what's it been? A couple months now. And, yeah. The dude definitely abides with that. ASMR sound creeps. They love it. This brewery is, they took over the old Route 30 location. And I was fortunate enough, the BeerDad, you guys know, shout out to the Bearded Villains Inland Empire. We did a charity function for the kids there in Riverside for Christmas time. And, we did a toy drive, and we handed out toys to a bunch of kids. And after the toy drive, I wanted to go out and try Carbonation Brewing because you and I were invited to their grand opening. We couldn't make it, but the brewery itself was amazing. Got to meet one of the assistant brewers and partake in several different beers. And by chance, randomly, there was an amazing food truck there that had some amazing barbecue food, which you would have loved. And so I had good barbecue, had good beer, and Hunter's back. I don't know what he's doing over here. What are you doing? No, he's taking videos. And this called to me because one of my favorite movies is The Big Lebowski, and it's just one of those classic. I hate to use the word guy movie because I'm sure there's plenty of ladies out there that enjoy The Big Lebowski, but it's just one of those ones, like, as guys, you get together, you drink some beers, and you can watch the same movie over and over again. That's one of them.
Yeah. When I pulled this can, I did not even, realize that this was a Big Lebowski beer until you said the name.
Yeah.
But this is what the dude would drink if he drank beer. I don't think he's a beer guy. Maybe he's a beer guy.
Yeah, he's definitely the White Russian kind of guy. That was his drink. Guy.
Yeah, but if he did drink beer, I feel like he would vibe with this.
Yeah, the can art on this is great because it's basically the kind of Argyle style sweater that the dude would wear. So they did a really good job on the can art, and I believe the owner, his daughter, does all the can art. So
really cool. Good. Yeah, big coffee notes on this. It's like a fresh brewed pot of coffee. As a beer.
Good. That's good. It's good. As Chevy Chase might say. That is good. Absolutely amazing.
This is one that I feel like would be interesting, as it warms up a little bit, would develop. Yeah. But it's really good. So is this it's a collab between two breweries?
Kind of. So Carbonation took over Route 30 prior to Carbonation getting all their licensing. They were kind of like contract brewing there and using their facility. So that's why it says brewed and canned by Route 30.
Got you.
But definitely highly recommend checking them out. They're in the city of Riverside, and it's a cool little brewery. Really is. I like what they're doing there. Several different styles of beer that I had there that were all pretty on point. I didn't have a problem with anything, and this one, I was like, I'm taking a can of that.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not? The beer is really good, but even if it wasn't, it's just such a cool can and beer name. Yeah, you have to try it.
That's right.
Yeah,
the Big Lebrewski. Yeah, very very good.
What's your favorite Coen Brothers movie?
That's a tough one. Because some of them, it's so funny because they're able to pull off different I don't know, say genres or whatever, but God, what's the one with the down south?
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I love that. I am a man of constant sorrow. I love that movie.
Yeah.
So many great actors in that movie that all just kind of came together. And I remember the previews of it. I was like, I don't know about this. And then I think I actually remember it was out for a while, and a buddy of mine was like, have you seen it yet? And I'm, no. And he's like, bro, trust me. And I was like, I don't know. It kind of looks different, you know? And he's like, you have to trust me on this. You have to see this movie. And now that became one of my movies that I can watch over and over and over again with buddies because it's so fun. It's just such a great movie.
Yeah, no, totally. It's weird. Like now the Coen brothers aren't really the Coen brothers anymore. They're kind of like making stuff independent.
They broke up.
One another. Yeah, but like they don't like to say that they broke up. They're just like, yeah. I mean, who knows if it's like a temporary thing or
wanted their own individual identity kind of thing.
That's understandable.
But yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. Great movie. Yeah, Big Lebowski. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
The actors in that movie just everybody gels. Like John Goodman, you know, like he's just such a funny character in that movie. So serious.
Yeah, John Goodman is one of those actors who's like always good in everything that he does. But with like Coen Brothers material, he's spot on. What's funny, what I find funny with him is, you know, most people know him from Roseanne, from TV sitcoms and stuff like that. But, you know, he's got so much range in his acting ability. Like all his movies that he's in, anything he does, like whether it be Saturday Night Live or anything like that, he's more than just Dan Connor. You know? Yeah. Do you watch Righteous Gemstones?
I actually have not seen that.
Okay. No. He's really good in that. It's a great show.
I'll have to check that out.
Very funny.
Because I love John Goodman. Like I said, everything he's in, I've always loved. I loved all his movies and just different things that he's been a part of, and like wide ranges of. It could be a kids movie. It could be serious with maybe subtle comedy. It just doesn't. It doesn't matter with him. It could be anything like. What is it? Waking the Dead or Bringing Out the Dead with Nicolas Cage, like, and he plays a paramedic, and he's just like it. You could tell, you know, obviously me working in EMS back in the day, he researched that role. You know, it's John Goodman, and he's a good actor, but to play a role like an EMT paramedic and have some realness to it, like you can tell he researched. Like he's a man of his craft. Like that's not. You have to have a very morbid, dark sense of humor to be in that type of industry, in that business. And so he researched that role, you know, him and Nicolas Cage and Ving Rhames. Like, have you ever seen that movie?
I don't think I have. No.
Oh, man. Bringing Out the Dead. It's one of those things where, like, when you become an EMT, it's almost like your rite of passage. You have to watch it.
Yeah, I bet.
But you want to talk about dark humor. So in that profession, in EMS, first responders, you know, that's obviously what I've been doing for most of my life. You have to have dark humor because you see and hear some wild stuff. And if you didn't have dark humor or some way of coping with that stuff, you would never be able to get through it. And he does a good job. All the characters in that movie do a good job at being realistic. And yeah, the medical portion is cheesy. And of course, there's going to be medics and EMTs that are going to listen to the show and be like, come on, Justin, like that was so hokey and fake. But I believe like the embodiment of the person in that role or in that career, they did a good job with that. Just to have that like dark sense of humor, you know, like there's a scene where Nicolas Cage and Ving Rhames are partners, and they run a call of what is supposedly a cardiac arrest inside a nightclub, and they get in there and the guy's on the floor unresponsive and he's not breathing, and all the friends are freaking out that he's dead, and they go to start their thing, and Nicolas Cage kind of gives the eye to his partner, who's Ving Rhames, who's a funny actor too. And he kind of gives him the eye like, he's not dead. It's an overdose, right? And so they're going to give him Narcan. And for anybody that doesn't know about the medical profession, if someone's overdose, you give them Narcan and wakes them up. It's like wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Takes their high away. Sometimes they wake up mad. Sometimes they start barfing. Definitely not dead, though. But everyone thought he was dead. And so just in that scene, Ving Rhames gets all the friends in a circle, and they all hold hands, and they're praying. And he's like, we're going to bring him back. We're going to bring him back. And they're like, and then he goes, and what's his name? And they're like, his name is I.B. Bangin'. And he's just like, what you mean I.B. Bangin'? And like, it's just like scenes like that. You're just like, you're cracking up because stuff like that actually happens in EMS. Like I could probably start a podcast just on that and the wild calls and stories that I have from that. Like it just, the most random things would happen. But that scene is just so funny. And then obviously he pushes Narcan and the guy wakes up and everyone's like, oh my God, it's a miracle.
Man, I got to check that movie out. Yeah, that's awesome that a movie like that exists. I love, like any movie that just kind of sheds light on a profession like that where,
Yeah, not a lot of people really know, they just think, oh, these guys drive around in an ambulance all day and take people to the hospital.
Right. Yeah.
They don't know the dark part, the light part, the comedic part, the all the in between that goes on in there. So, but yeah, it's a great movie.
Totally.
Highly recommended.
You got to check it out. Yeah. Ving Rhames always makes me think of Marcellus Wallace.
Oh jeez.
That's my favorite Ving Rhames role.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of movies too, hadn't he?
Yeah, man. And like all the Mission Impossible, like him and Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Just holding it down for Mission Impossible.
Those are some good movies too.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I like his roles in that. He's always got this like really like dry humor. Ving Rhames does. He's got that deep bear voice.
Yeah.
I like that too. He's a lot of fun for sure. So shout out to that. But this Big Lebowski here Big Lebowski from Carbonation in Riverside, California is great.
Yeah, we definitely got to go check them out over there. Like go in person, I know you've been, but like,
yeah, I think we're going to do a podcast with them at some point in 24 for sure. So that's really good. But based upon the beers I've had and this beer, I think we're going to be doing just great.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm a huge coffee lover, so like this beer is perfect.
Yeah, I know you like coffee. Yeah. My mother-in-law would like this. She loves coffee too. And like you said, you hit it on the head. Really nice coffee notes here.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And for being an imperial stout and the ABV that's on this, I think that it's kind of easy drinking. So I think it would sneak up on you.
Totally. What was the ABV? Let me grab the can.
Check the can.
Oh, 11.5. That is really surprising.
Wow.
Yeah. Russian Imperial Stout inspired by El Duderino's libation of choice, the White Russian. Notes of vanilla, coffee, and chocolate.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's really good.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carbonation. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. Man,
cheers to that. And cheers to the dude.
Cheers to the dude. Always cheers to the dude.
See, hold on a sec. Yeah. Back at it. So, the Big Lebowski. General consensus. Good stuff, right?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, anybody likes coffee, you should definitely check this one out.
Yeah, it's a really good stout. I liked it too, and then the ABV super high, but it does not taste it at all.
Yeah, I was really shocked. 11.5.
That
does not drink. Yeah, it does not drink like an 11.5, but yeah. Should we open another one and see what we got? What are you feeling?
Well, I think we got another stout right there. Let's go ahead and just open that.
Okay, let me see.
So this is Brandon's going to be opening. I saved this. This is part of the beer advent calendar from the original Kalia. This is kind of strange because they, in that advent calendar, most of it's like Oktoberfest style Marzens and lagers and a lot of Helles lagers and stuff like that. But a little stout got mixed in there, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah, you would think they would do more of that,
Yeah. I love the can art on this. Like, really, really cool. Like, super cool can art. It's, I don't know, for wrestling fans, that we always get to the wrestling, right? It kind of has that NWO vibe to it. So shout out to the Chug World Order. But this is Schwarz Tinte. I don't know if we're saying it right. Collab Stout. 6.2%.
Schwarz Tinte.
Yeah. Schwarz Tinte.
Schwarz Tinte.
Yeah, it almost like sounds Italian more so than it does German.
Yeah, it could.
But Schwarz beer, obviously, and but they're calling this a stout, so we'll see. But take a look at the can art; it's got like kind of like the paint dripping down.
I like it.
So
this came out of the Costco Advent Calendar.
This is the famous original Kalia beer Advent Calendar. The BeerDad partakes in every year. Shout out to Auntie Berta, and she always will buy it. Hunter, no, buddy. And it's different, color wise as far as stout goes. It's definitely more of a Schwarz beer style. So I don't know. Maybe they just call it that. But I don't know. We've got a good head on it.
Yeah.
Smells good. Okay. Let's dive in.
Ooh, super like caramely on the nose. Like creme brulee almost.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it. Wow, that's very light.
It's not what you expected, was it?
No.
Because it smells, aroma style, like it's going to be a bigger beer, but super easy drinking.
It's weird. I kind of don't understand the style. Like, it's not a stout. It's kind of, I guess, kind of a Schwarz.
Yeah. A little bit different than most Schwarz beers.
I wouldn't know how to categorize this if you're like entering it into a festival. What do you think?
Let me take another swig of it and tell you, because I have a thought.
Maybe like a red. It's like in the red family.
I was gonna lean more towards like a Bock.
Okay.
Something like that. It has that caramely taste to it. And we had a nice double Bock earlier today. Much lighter style. I think I'm going that way. You ever had Shiner Bock?
Yes. Yeah.
Does it not kind of lean towards that style?
Yeah, it does. It reminds me of that really great holiday one, and which you gave me a can of last year that has had peach, I think.
Peach and pecans.
Peach and pecan. Yeah,
that was
that was so good.
What do they call that? Holiday cheer, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I'm kind of glad we picked this one. This is a very kind of Christmassy style type of beer, in my opinion.
Do you remember at Noble, there's like the Austrian gentleman, like their regular that hangs on?
Yes, Hans.
I feel like Hans, yeah.
Yes.
I feel like Hans would fuck with this beer.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I love that we met him. So the last time I went there, I brought my brother. We went for Star Wars night. We went out there for Star Wars night at Disneyland. We stopped at Noble Ale Works. It was my brother and my daughter, and Hans was there.
Of course he was.
And much like the time we were there, he walked right up to us and introduced himself. He had his special mug that he brings in, and he's just, oh man, he's a character. And my brother was eating it up because, we German heritage and stuff like that. And he just started talking, and he was like, oh my God, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, I'm Hans, they come in the Noble Ale Works and drink my beer. It's like, oh man, he's just a staple there. He's like that character. I think I mentioned to Jimmy about maybe they should make a Hans beer just for him.
I'm shocked that they haven't. He's almost like, he's such a fixture at that brewery that like it's part of the attraction of going there, aside from the delicious beer.
Yeah.
Hans is just, it's just
maybe they should make like a Hans Gruber, Christmas beer for him or something.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
They could do like
workshop a name or
Hans Gruber, do like a hybrid. Jimmy, I hope you're listening. Do a hybrid of like his rice lager, but do like a German style rice lager.
Yeah. Okay.
Meld it a little bit, kind of like what I think Don was talking about with his German Pilsner, like using the rice and stuff like that as an adjunct. I think you could pull it off. And it'd be cool to have a beer and then someone could do like a total outlandish, cartoonish version of Hans.
Yeah.
He's definitely a character for sure.
Yeah, for the listeners, there's a gentleman who hangs out. He's to call him a regular, I feel like is an understatement because he's just I feel like he just lives there.
He's part of the Noble Ale Works lore.
Yeah. Very kind Austrian guy who just hangs out and drinks an insane amount of beer and just gets drunk after work every day, and because he's trying to avoid his wife or try to avoid going home.
I love it.
And it just goes and just talks to different people around at the brewery.
Yeah, he's super friendly. Like when we went there, he walked right up to us and started talking to us like we were best of buds, you know.
Right.
And again, he did it at the same time when I was there with Andrew and my daughter before we went to Star Wars night at Disneyland.
Yeah, it was funny. Before the first time when I encountered him with you, I was watching him like talk to other people for like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. And I was like, oh God, this guy's going to come over here.
He's coming. Here he comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it was like such a great surprise. Like he was lovely guy.
Yeah.
But
maybe we'll get him on a show.
Oh, that would be fun.
Because I know it's been a minute since we've been to Noble Ale Works, and they've done a lot of really cool stuff out there. So maybe we'll go visit Jimmy and do a show with him, and we'll see if we can catch Hans and get him to say a few words about Noble Ale Works.
Yeah. That'd
be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he definitely told us a couple of stories just about like how much he loves beer, and it would be we should.
I just think it's funny he rolls in there with his own mug. There's not a lot of places that will accept that, but he's their regular, so they're just like, yep, we got you.
Right.
Because I mean, there's mug clubs, right? Beer breweries do mug clubs and stuff like that, but he's literally has his mug that he brings in. He drinks out of that.
I feel like he's like part of the entertainment. You know what I mean? Like breweries book, some breweries book comedians, or they book bands, or they book, DJs or whatever. And like, he's just kind of like this free, like he just tells you like these crazy stories, and it's like very entertaining. It's a great way to just drink a beer and listen to like this interesting Austrian gentleman tell you stories with, as BeerDad was saying, kind of like a Arnold Schwarzenegger-esque accent. But, yeah,
that's awesome. Cheers to Hans.
Yeah, cheers to Hans, man. I hope he had a great Christmas and a happy New Year. I hope his wife didn't like kick him out or anything.
I slept on the couch.
Yeah, she put me in the doghouse. Yeah.
But it's okay because I had a lot of beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. And
I'm a cop, you idiot.
Yeah. Get down. Get in the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Oh, man. He could do all the lines. He literally, he is a carbon copy of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, not looks-wise. Well, he's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's not, like, I wouldn't say muscular like Arnie. But, if Arnold Schwarzenegger was doing, like, some voiceover work, and for whatever reason, he became incapacitated.
Got laryngitis.
Yeah.
Bring Hans in.
Hans could do it.
Hell yeah. He sounds just like him. I mean, if you closed your eyes, you'd think you're talking to the kindergarten cop himself.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. He's a cool guy. And shout out to all the homies over at Noble.
Absolutely. Noble Ale Works is a great brewery. Steve, the owner, I already told him. I said, whatever it takes, do not let Jimmy go anywhere. Whatever. He knows. He definitely knows. I mean, he's had some brewers over the years, some great brewers, Evan being one of them from Green Cheek. But yeah, Jimmy's doing some good stuff there. Really turned that brewery around and made some amazing beers. And we've had some, in this last year.
Totally, yeah. Really nice guy, too. Just Noble, always just like their hospitality is off the charts. Like, just always take care of us. And I love sitting down and talking beer with those guys. I just love listening to them talk about beer.
Yeah,
they're so like geeky and nerdy about it, and I mean that in the most
in a
complimentary way
Absolutely.
possible. Like, I love just sitting there listening to like hearing. So there's Jimmy, and then what's the other guy's name? I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting.
SoCal beer guy. Yeah, the assistant brewer.
And he brewed like the Fel Odie Might Delete.
Yep.
And oh my gosh, I feel so bad I'm blanking on his name, but yeah, he's really awesome too, and great brewer, awesome beers.
Yeah,
I like that Fel Odie Might Delete.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely have to go revisit Noble Ale Works. It's been a great year. I mean, we've been visiting a lot of really good breweries this year.
For sure.
Didn't put out as many episodes as I liked. I know everything got really crazy and chaotic with trying to start a beer brand and life in general. I know you've been through some travels as well as myself, and I think 2024 is going to be the year of the BeerDad and Brewed podcast. I have a feeling. You have some ideas. I have some ideas. I think we're going to do some really cool stuff next year. For sure.
I agree, man. I agree. And it was a busy year, and I'm really grateful that we were able to do the episodes that we did.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We had some good ones. We had some really good ones.
Starting out, I was thinking like, what was the first one of the year? And I missed the first one of the year. It was like Good Day
Brew. Yeah.
Good Day Brewing, Paris, California. And I was really excited to go. And then I got COVID.
Yeah.
So you had to roll solo on that one. But that was an awesome episode. I enjoyed listening to it just as like a fan again, a listener of the show, because I hadn't been able to do that in a long time. Because aside from like editing the episodes, I don't listen to them anymore because I hate hearing my own goddamn voice.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's just so
weird. My shitty, annoying, stupid little voice. I hate hearing it.
That's why I like that you're editing it now. And I just, because I don't, other than, because really I would listen to like for quality control purposes, but then I'd be like, man, I sound so weird.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's, I feel like that's a normal brain function for somebody. When you hear your own voice, you don't like to hear it.
Yeah.
I'd much rather listen to you or somebody else than listen to my own voice. And it's the same for you. Like, you just don't like it.
Yeah, I hate it. I've gotten a little more comfortable with it though, just from editing the podcast. Like, I'll just do it like purely from like a, like perfunctory, like I need to get this, but like once it's out there, once you publish it, I'm like, I'm not going to listen to it just casually as a fan.
I think I think the hard part for me is like listening to the voice. It's not necessarily the voice that gets on my nerves, but you're your own worst critic. And so like, you don't listen to other people, but you listen to yourself and you like bastardize yourself. You're like, man, you got so many verbal tics and you do this and you do this weird thing. And like, I hate it.
Yeah. What gets me, it's not even that, is more like when we're talking about the beers, because I always want to be like, like say something like insightful about the beer,
right.
And like, whether it's you or just all of the like incredible tasters that you've had, that we've had on the show, whether it's, Brandon Gray, just all the like just different co-hosts that you've had, and Josh and everybody who could just speak so eloquently and beautifully and just and like I said, you as well just can be like, oh yeah, this is this and this is that, and I'm like, shit, man, why couldn't I? Because like it's like in my brain and like I can't articulate it, I overthink it, and I always want to be like respectful to the brewer and to the beer. We've talked about like always just regardless of whatever, like we always want to just like show respect to the brewers, because we you as a brewer and me as a beer lover, we always want to like show that appreciation for the craft and not insult anybody, even though we for the most part we love the beer that we drink on the show.
Absolutely.
So I overthink that part, and when I hear myself talking about the beer sometimes I'm like, you idiot, like what the hell are you talking about?
It's all good, because it's kind of like a come full circle type thing, and this might change over the years, but like when the show first started, I didn't really have any brewing knowledge really. It was obviously Josh was the brewer, and myself, I was just a beer nerd, beer aficionado, and I had a very basic knowledge of the brewing process. I had distilled, and that's kind of it's funny, because that's kind of how Josh and I really kind of came together and had a love for each other. It was like he was really interested in the distilling, and I was more interested in the beer process, because I didn't really take a passion to it. And I like distilling too, but I feel like brewing they're very similar in a way, but there's more that goes into brewing than distilling. I mean, you can make distilling more complicated if you really wanted to, but it's more of make your main ingredients, throw them in the fermenter, let them ferment, and then you distill them, right? And brewing, there's a lot more in depth into that, and obviously there's so many different styles of beer that you can brew, so some beers can be brewed a little bit differently than others. But yeah, when we first started, I was like yourself, I had just a basic level knowledge, and I just loved beer, loved craft beer. And that's kind of where it came from. And then Josh was the expert. I mean, that damn dude was like a MacGyver when it came to beer. And the world really missed out on, him going pro, because I feel like wherever it went was going to be, whether it be Lagunitas or wherever he was going to go brew at. And obviously one day we wanted to partner up, and I think that would have been really cool. But he taught me his craft, and in a million years I will never be the brewer that he was, and nobody will. But one day maybe I'll teach you to brew, and then you'll have a better understanding of it. And I'm no expert really at all. I have the basic understanding, everything that I learned from Josh, and he had a lot of the science down. I don't have that yet. I probably could get that if I went and took some classes or just really studied on YouTube or whatever. But he was just so good at, like, if he didn't have an ingredient, he would make an ingredient. Like,
I love
hey,
that.
I don't have this grain to make this specific style, but if I take this grain and I take this grain and I put them together and I boil them at this temperature, it's going to simulate that flavor. Like stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
no, totally.
I'm not on that level yet. But it's one of those things where, like, don't knock yourself for being a fan of beer, because that's how this show started, was just me, like, meeting Josh and hey, do you like beer? Yeah, is the Pope Catholic? And then he gave me some of his home brew, and it was like, oh, this is cool. And then we would have beer shares, and it was like one day I was just like, traveling back and forth, with a long commute, and I started listening to a craft beer podcast called The Brews Traveler. I wish he was still on. It was a great podcast. And I was like, I could probably do that. That'd be fun, And then I talked to him, like, you want to do that? He's like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And then here we are, 4 years later. Here we are, the BeerDad and Brewed podcast, still riding along, ups and downs, but here we are, we're still doing the same thing. So I'm glad we're continuing the tradition, and we're going to keep it going into next year. I don't see any major changes with the show. I don't ever want to mess with the format of the show, but I do see us doing more shows and, having some fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I do want to continue, and that I think that this podcast has always done a great job of, is just highlighting, all these amazing breweries that that a lot of people don't necessarily know about,
right?
That may not be in your community or in your peripheral, like, area that you might go to, but that you might travel to or have access
Absolutely.
to. Or even, from like a beer trade perspective, I know
Right.
Obviously we're both, we're Southern California based, so that's primarily what we cover.
Yeah.
But, obviously there's people listening here to the show that, aren't out in the Southern California area.
Yeah.
But they might, want to trade for the beers that we talked about on the show.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, just from having listened to the show and now being on the show, like, there's so many breweries now that I know to look out for, Baba Brew House or King's or, 8-Bit that we talked about earlier, that I've gotten, to know that I wouldn't have really known about if I hadn't listened to the show. So yeah, that's what I'm really, committed to, is, just like showcasing, like, all these great, little breweries.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think
around.
it's needed, right now there's kind of a, we talked about earlier with Don at Idlewild Brew Pub. There's kind of like a downturn in the industry right now, as far as, like, a lot of people downsizing, getting smaller. The big, huge beverage model has kind of gone away. Some people either expanded or grew too much, and then the pandemic kind of shut that down a little bit. And for people that put out a lot of money, they weren't able to recoup, and it really devastated them. And so you see a lot of breweries kind of, like, just shrinking a little bit, getting rid of, like, large brew houses and going back to the basics and stuff like that. And it's good. I feel bad for some of the people that have had to close and stuff like that. And some amazing brewers. I just heard about Ingenious the other day, and I was really sad about that, because Humble, Texas, good old Drake. I know you listen to the show all the time.
Shout out Drake.
You brought Ingenious into our lives. It was one of the main beers that you sent us, and when we kind of put Houston on the map here in Southern California. And James, the head brewer there, has done a phenomenal job, and it's nothing against him or anything like that. It was just with the pandemic and the business, they just weren't able to come back from it. And I'm sad to see them go. Maybe they come back. I don't know. And I just hope that, James figures something out, because he was an amazing brewer. And, for the people in Houston, Texas, they have a lot of good breweries, and that it's sad to see them go.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. I don't know if it's just, the economy in general. There's just weird, like, lack of confidence or whatnot, but hey, it's always like a pendulum swing, right?
Yeah.
You know, like
It has its ups and downs.
Yeah, you know, when things swing towards the bad, it always tends to swing back towards the good, and inevitably it's going to go back to being, you know, shitty as well. But,
absolutely. And you know, I think the industry will see another upturn eventually, but for now, what I think the listeners need to do is just get out and support local. You know, find your breweries. I know we talk a lot of breweries here, but wherever you're at, you know, within driving distance, there's going to be a brewery near you. You know, it doesn't matter where it's at, but definitely go support local, because these guys and gals, you know, it's a small mom and pop business for the most part, and they need your help. They need your business. They want to bring you in. They want your patronage, and you know, the beer that you can find just locally is so good.
Totally.
You know, like, I mean, we've had some amazing episodes this year. You know, 14 Cannons. I was so in love with that brewery. Yeah, I had such a good time. I'm so glad that you were able to get that set up for us. And you know, the head brewer there, like, oh,
yeah,
man.
Shout out Nick.
Yeah, he's so cool. So like he's a geeky beer nerd to heart at first, you know. And talk about a setup, you know, with his RO system, and you know, he built that brewery exactly how he wanted. It's a great place. They got good pizza. They got that little wine area too, which is really smart.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, they weathered the storm, and they're continuing. They just had their anniversary, and they're doing great. And you know, I wish them nothing but the best. I can't wait for their new location to open, and we'll have to go visit that one for sure.
Yeah, out in like the Channel Islands area. So it'll be a little bit of a trek, but that'll be a fun trip. Yeah.
Maybe we'll jump in the water with great white sharks, like we always talk about. Brandon's like, I'll watch you from the boat, dude. You go ahead, BeerDad.
I'll stay and then if something happens, you know, I'll be available to come rescue you. If we both go down there, you know, it could be bad. But I was really excited to go to 14 Cannons with you, because that's a brewery. You know, I've said it before on the show, brewery that I've loved for a really long time. So it was you know, cool to like go there with a buddy and like show a friend like a new brewery. It was amazing. I really had a good time there, and you know, everything was cool. Whether it be the podcast that we recorded, the beers that we had, the pizza that we had, you know, the total package. The beer tender, she was freaking cool too. Yeah, man.
Her and I had a little back and forth about sports because she was a Dodger fan, but you know, not everybody's perfect.
Yeah, and she was and she's like a teacher by day.
God, that was such a cool story.
Night.
Such a cool story, and beautiful. Like, I mean,
very beautiful. Yeah.
She was like she's like the total package. Like, if in a different world, the BeerDad was not a married man, like, she would have been in a lot of trouble, because she was like everything that you would want in a woman. She was a teacher. Everybody loves teachers. So she takes care of children. That's amazing. It's awesome. It's a humble profession. I love teachers. You know, obviously I've been teaching for the last few years in my profession as a first responder, and I love it. And then a beer nerd. She loved beer. She was super knowledgeable, like talked about all kinds of good stuff and all her different favorite styles and stuff like that. And, you know, so working at the brewery, just like all that, the only thing I knock on her that I would probably just stay away is because she was a Dodger fan, you know, like I said, not everybody's perfect, but yeah, she was a cool chick. Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah. No, it's a really cool place, man. Glad we got to sit down and talk to Nick.
Absolutely. That was a cool episode. Definitely cool for you guys to go back if you haven't heard it yet. Check out, I believe it was Marooned on Marzen Island or something like that.
Yeah, Maroon with Meritzens and Patient Pilsners, because their Meritzen, which they brew year round, is on tap. It's called Marooner Meritzen, and their Pilsner is called Patient Pilsner.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great brew. Check it out.
Yeah.
Westlake Village.
Yes.
Yeah. 14 Cannons.
I liked our Vegas trip. That was a lot of fun. Cool. Yeah.
I was actually just looking at it because it's not Spotify, but Buzzsprout, our host of the podcast that does our RSS feed. They did like a review of the year or whatever, and our Cerveza episode was our #1 most downloaded episode for the year.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You know, and Huddle wasn't very far behind that. Both of them were popular episodes, and I just remember it was a really cool thing to be obviously in another state, and we met some really cool people. You know,
totally. Huddle is my favorite brewery in Las Vegas. I know I've said it on the show before, and there's great breweries out there. Obviously, that's the home of Beer Zombies, which is you know, such a juggernaut in the industry, and they brew incredible stuff. Yeah. And there's other great breweries in the area, but I love Huddle. I have so much respect for them because aside from the great beer that they brew, I think they have like the balls to brew beer that is like not necessarily like warm temperature beer. You know, it's not the stuff, it's not like the Cold Crushers, the Crispy Boys, you know, that you would want to drink in hot weather. Yeah. But they are like fearless, man. They brew the stuff that they want to brew, and they do like cream ales, barrel aged cream ale was ales. Stupid. Yeah. Like
shout out to Joe,
man. Yeah. Joe is he's a mad scientist.
Yeah, and then his assistant brewer is Angie.
Yes, I think it's Angie. Yeah. Just crazy. I mean, and like anyone that's listening and is going through that area, like they do have your beer tasting beers. They have your lagers, their pilsners, and they're great. Right. And IPAs. They have actually I don't think we really got into the IPAs over there. Next time we go, we got to try some of their IPAs. They're really good. Yeah. But their cream ales, especially their barrel aged cream ales, which like I'd never had a barrel aged cream ale before. Right. It was nuts. Like, it's.
Well, I have a couple trips planned to Vegas next year, so we'll have to figure out timing wise for yourself. But I know we're going in March for a volleyball tournament, so that might be pretty tight as far as time goes. But then we're going again in August. We just found out Christmas because they were Christmas presents, but the girls are going to Carrie Underwood.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so there might be an opportunity to sneak in some podcasts while we're up there.
Yeah. I know. Las Vegas Brewing Company. We talked to them a little bit, maybe about
Nevada,
going to visit.
Nevada Brewworks.
Oh, Nevada,
right next to
Beerworks. Yep.
And actually, Beer Zombies. I don't know if you saw, they took over a brewery and they're going to start brewing up there in Las Vegas now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we might talk to Chris at Beer Zombies, and so there's a lot of opportunity up there. But we got some. Yeah. Like I said, next year, 2024, I think we're going to try to pull some stuff off. Obviously, I'll still be working hard with BeerDad's Brewworks and trying to get that to go to where I want it to go. We're still pumping out beers and, signing up new clients, but we're trying to get that tap room open. So hopefully we can get that going at some point next year. And but for as far as the podcast goes, like, I want to get some, good episodes in, get some good recordings in, with some new breweries that we've never been to before, and hopefully, get a couple trips in. Whether it be there's a ton of breweries in Sacramento, and I go up there a lot that I would love to do some shows with.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I would love to go. I know we talked. We had our NorCal beer episode earlier this year. We had a bunch of great beer from that region. Whether it's Sacramento or San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland.
Like I said, we can definitely hit some of the good, like, Oakland area breweries too. Give me an excuse to go visit my aunt and uncle there in Alameda. Shit. Alameda's got, Faction.
Faction, man.
One of the best.
I'm dying to go to Faction, man.
Yeah. Faction and Almanac's there, right around the corner from Faction. And then now Humble Sea is there too.
Humble Sea. Yeah. Man, I love Humble Sea. I've never had a beer that's not a 10 out of 10, from them. Their IPAs.
Great beers.
Yeah, I've only had IPAs from there, but they're all just crazy.
Good stuff, yeah,
crazy
absolutely.
Good, man. Yeah, but just as we're, talking about Vegas, you mentioned Cerveza. Shout out to Tony and Brianna over there. They took good care of us. We had like an amazing flight out there, and just talked to them about the business and running a bottle shop out there. And they just
they're opening a new spot.
Yeah, it opened.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, and it seems like it's doing really well. So now they have 2 locations out in Las Vegas: Cerveza bottle shop and tap room. And they always do really cool events for like Mexican American like holidays. aside from like Cinco de Mayo, like
Right.
they do. I couldn't say what the holidays are, but they're always doing really cool, just like Mexican heritage stuff. They're like mostly Latino owned and operated.
Yeah.
And they gave we did a flight over there, and one of the beers was michelada, and it was really good. I can't remember what the beer was, but
it was their beer, right?
Was it their beer?
Their
Okay.
collab beer that they did.
Okay.
Yeah, they gave us a can to take home.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really cool episode. I mean, it's been a great year. Like I'm glad you brought that up because I almost forgot. It feels like over the years of doing the show, we've done so many cool things. You know, I've been definitely blessed, and shout out to our listeners because, you know, without our listeners, you know, this wouldn't be a thing, you know, because many compliments from different breweries where, you know, they've told us, hey, this person came in because they heard it on the show, you know. I know Don at Idlewild Brew Pub, he just recently had Andrew who writes for the Beer Paper LA, and he does the Craft Beer IE. Great dude. He wants to be on the show, so we're gonna have him on the show at some point.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But he went and did a featured article at the brew pub there, and he basically said, I'm here because of the BeerDad and Brew podcast. Like I heard the show, and I was like, I gotta go up there and see that brewery. So
that's awesome.
And that's what it's all about. Like, I didn't want to do this for like money. Obviously, we don't make any money. It'd be nice if we did. You know, it'd be nice if we grew to like the Joe Rogan status. But it was more so to just be an advocate for the craft beer industry, the home brewing industry, and spotlight, you know, brewers and breweries, and get people to know, like, hey, these local community places, like, they're here and they're amazing, and you got to come check them out. You know, whether or not they have food or if it's just beer, but go support, you know, local mom and pop owned small businesses because they rely on their customers. And, you know, myself, you know, I was fledgling, you know, trying to open our tap room, and we got our beer out in distribution. And, you know, I love it to see people enjoying our beer and, you know, posting it on social media and stuff like that. It's just it's a really cool feeling. It's cool to walk into a bar and see your beer on a menu.
Oh my God. Yeah. No kidding.
It's one of those things where, you know, talking, you know, my business partner, John, he was like, that's so cool when you see that. And shout out to John. He just actually had his daughter yesterday. So,
oh, wow. Congrats, Sean. That's awesome, man.
Congratulations to John and Kalina. They have Mia, their new daughter. She was born yesterday.
Yeah. Beautiful name.
She's real pretty little baby, and I'm so happy for him. He's got his son Roman, and now he's got a girl, so he's got the perfect package, boy and girl. And
that's awesome.
I'm really happy for him. So
yeah. Speaking of John, that was like the only other episode of BeerDad and Brewed that I listened to this year, because the only other episode that I wasn't.
You were not there, yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed listening. I was like, wow, it's nice to just listen.
The first time we had wine on the BeerDad and Brewed podcast, we had thin vine wines, and then not shortly after that is when we did the show at Collab, and we had propaganda.
Yes. Yeah. And what a cool place. I know we talked a little bit, we did an episode obviously earlier today at Idlewild. You know, if you're listening to this, you may or may not have heard that prior to listening to this.
Right.
And we talked a little bit about Collab, but yeah, what a cool place. And, you know, we talked with, you know, Dawn at Idlewild about, you know, shared spaces, collaborative spaces. And Collab is I think one of the cooler places like that we've ever been to.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool spot.
Yeah. Beer, wine, food, arcade games. I mean, we saw people there from all ages. We
saw the kids with the baseball team.
Yeah.
We saw I think there was like a wedding shower, baby shower or something going on. There was like a party going on.
Bachelor party of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah. It was all kinds of crazy stuff going on, but it was cool to see, you know, 3 breweries, 1 winery, and a burger joint all in one spot. That was really neat.
Yeah, and even like an elderly couple just having like a nice like dinner and some beers and, you know, some food. Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's Baby's Badass Burgers that's there, which has, you know, quite so good. And, you know, I kind
of wish, like, I feel like because I know you liked it, and I had been there before, but I kind of wish we ate that first because I feel like, after drinking a few drinks, everything tastes good.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted you to like really dive into the food, but it's amazing. So I'm glad you got to try it, but you got to go back and like do it sober.
Totally. Yeah.
It was definitely an experience to go through 3 breweries and a winery and then eat.
Yeah. I had Baby's Badass before. There's like, they have a truck that would pretty frequently come out to a company that I was working at in Santa Monica for a little while.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had gotten to try it before. So yeah, I knew like just how great it was, but that's really awesome that they have like a, I guess,
brick and mortar.
Yeah. Brick and mortar. Yeah. Permanent, or semi-permanent location, whatever, just there in Collab. That's really good food. Like it's not just it's not just like some random people making burgers. Like it's really, really good burgers and with a bit of a good reputation. Fries, great fries. But they have such a reputation here in Southern California.
Absolutely.
For just being, really incredible. So.
I like the fact too that it's like a woman-owned business, and they're like very, positive and uplifting because hey, we don't have to beat around the bush. Like in terms of the business world, women have predominantly not been in the business world up until recently, and I've always said it. Women are. I feel like their creative juices are better than ours. They've always been, and just until recently, they haven't really had that opportunity to shine. And I think it's cool that they're coming out like a lot of breweries have, female brewers and restaurants, female-owned restaurants, and I think that's really cool. Like I'm obviously not like the typical, male chauvinist, like it has to be ran by a guy. Like I could care less who runs it as long as it's good. And I feel like, and I've always said this, like I always kudos my wife all the time. Like they make good decisions when it comes to food and beverages and stuff like that. And I feel like they're more creative than we are, and by nature. Yeah. So I think it's a good thing for the industry, for restaurants, for breweries and stuff like that. It's we definitely need an equal space, I think. And I think it's a collaborative effort. And, by all means, women want to get into this industry, want to get into the food industry, do it, because then that just means we're going to be happy, right? Like, I mean, that burger joint, like to have like amazing, the burgers are so freaking good. That burger that I had with the grilled cheese and like, man, they're just, they do such a good job. So very, happy to have been able to partake into Baby's Badass Burgers, and I wish them nothing but success for the future.
Yeah, me too. And really cool to just see. So it was what 3 breweries that was in there?
3 breweries, 1 winery. Yeah,
3 breweries and 1 winery. Yeah, and we got a chance to like talk to pretty much everybody. Yeah, at least one person from each of the brewery, whether it was a brewer or a beer tender. I can't remember the gentleman we spoke to from the winery. I can't remember if he was
he was one of the co-owners that we talked to, and he was really cool, and it was just really cool to have that. Obviously we did a show with John with Invine Wines, but to have a different aspect, and that was a really cool episode because if you guys haven't heard it yet, we literally had 3 different breweries beers. And a winery mixed in there, and I just thought that, man, it was a different episode. It truly was like an experience.
Totally, yeah. And I think it highlighted, one of the things that we were talking about earlier too, sort of like a future business model that can really help. Whether it's the wine industry, the beer industry, restaurant industry. Really thrive and survive is like these collaborative spaces. Yeah. Where, all these businesses partner together to pay for, rent or the lease and, just partner together to like provide all these different options for people to get people to come in and to stay and to spend more money and to, have, the ability to enjoy all these like great, beverage or food choices.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And I hope to see more of that. Yeah. There's a cool space that I think I've brought it up on the show before, but I go out to Santa Barbara a lot, and There's a place out there called the Funk Zone, and they have this collaborative space, super similar to Collab. But yeah, it's like food, wine, beer. There's a Topa Topa in there. I'm sure you're familiar with Topa Topa. Yeah. And then there's a winery, and then they have this like bottle shop called Llama Dog that is like just amazing. And I'm like having deja vu. I think I brought this up on the show before, but anyway, yeah, if you're out in Santa Barbara, it's cool spot. Check it out. Fun zone. But yeah.
All right.
Should we crack another one?
We should crack another one.
I think we have maybe one more, two more?
Two more, I think.
Okay, two more.
I think one that you brought and then the one that I have. All right, so we are going to continue with another beer here. We have
this beer is called Chaos into Order. It's from a brewery called Highland Park Brewery, which we both love.
We do.
And also shout out to Brandon Gray. I know he's a big fan of Highland, a big proponent of Highland Park Brewery. This brewery's got a pretty big reputation. I feel like a lot of people know about it. They've heard about it. But yeah, I picked this up recently. It's a barrel-aged imperial stout with chocolate, coconut, and pecan.
Ooh, son.
Yeah.
And we just had a German-style Schwarzbier, and this is a German chocolate cake stout.
German chocolate cake stout. It's coming in at 13.1%.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
So we didn't get our stout season episode in. We're getting it now.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah. Cheers.
Salud.
Whoa.
Wow.
I might have to just go for a walk. That's
crazy.
Dude, that's literally like drinking German. It's like somebody took a slice of German chocolate cake, put it in a blender, poured it into this glass.
That's crazy. Shout out to Highland Park Brewing for Chaos into Order German chocolate cake stout, barrel aged. That's good stuff. And Highland Park's done some amazing things over the years. One of their cool beers, the Timbo, is pretty famous and on the map, and had that at Irie Jungle a couple years ago. And this is, I think, to date, that is, I want to say is this the only barrel aged stout? Has Brandon given me, because you talked about Brandon Gray. He's always going out to Highland Park and he would bring me stuff from there. And I don't think. Have I? I'd have to look back at old stout season episodes. But I just don't remember drinking a barrel-aged stout from them. But this is stupid.
Yeah. This is really special. I love Highland Park Brewing. I think they're the best brewery in Los Angeles.
They might be.
It's probably not a controversial statement, to be honest. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
But they brew incredibly well in so many different styles, and they collab with so many cool breweries too, whether it's Tripping Animals, as you just talked about with Irie Jungle. I was out in Asheville, North Carolina at Burial Brewing, which is another incredible band, and they just randomly had a Highland Park collab on tap. So yeah, they're cool, man.
They get around.
They get around. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw them at Irie Jungle. I saw them at I believe they were at Lagerville. They definitely they have a big space in the craft beer industry. Very highly respected and well-rounded brewery. If you've never been, you have to go. For you Doyer fans, they're very close to Chavez Ravine.
Yeah.
A shame, because I'd much rather them be closer to myself. And I feel like I have to shower after I go out in that area. No offense to Highland Park Brewing or Los Angeles, but obviously the BeerDad's not a Dodger fan. But man, what a great brewery, and they make amazing beers. This beer is.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. Yeah, so the original location started out in actually Highland Park.
In Highland Park,
proper, in the back of this little dive bar.
Yeah.
Whose name I'm forgetting. But that it actually still exists today. If you walk into the back, there's just like a little beer bar in the back of a dive bar.
Yeah.
And it has like 4 or 5 taps that are just Highland Park Brewing, and that's how they started.
Yeah.
And then when they got so popular,
they needed their own space.
They needed their own space, so they opened up a space in Chinatown in Los Angeles.
Right.
So, it's there on Spring Street. So it's not really even though it's Highland Park Brewing, their main location where they brew out of is not actually in Highland Park.
Right.
So it's like right in the shadow, the foothills, as you alluded to. It's kind of like beneath Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
And what's really cool, I was there in April on opening days in April, right?
Yeah, spring training, April, May.
Okay, yeah. So it was like late April, early May for opening day of 2023. And
did you have to shower? I'm just kidding.
No. It's okay.
I know we have a lot of Los Angeles fans. I know. Shout out to the Dodgers. You guys have had an amazing offseason. Shohei Ohtani is now a Dodger. It makes me sick to say it, but congratulations to Dodger fans. You guys had a great offseason. But continue.
No, hey, I'll never be mad at the the Los Angeles criticism. We've seen better days. It's been rough. But what's cool, and you'll appreciate this, not as not as a Dodger fan, but just as a baseball fan and as a sports fan and as someone who appreciates communities coming together. I went to Highland Park. I met some friends out there, and then we walked to another great brewery, which is literally around the corner. It's maybe like a 2-minute walk from Highland Park Brewing. It's called Homage.
Oh yeah.
And I okay, you're familiar with Homage. Yeah. Okay. So Homage is like on Highland Park's level in terms of beer quality.
Right.
They're incredible. They're not as well known. They're a little bit newer, but their beer is phenomenal. So if you go to the Highland Park Brewing in like the proper Chinatown location, definitely check out Homage as well. But anyway, so I did like a Highland Park Homage brew hop, and then when I came out, it was like it was opening day, Dodger Stadium, the whole block shut down, and it was like a tailgate. Yeah. And they just had like food vendors, and just everyone was Dodgered out, and it was really cool. Like, I'm not a big like baseball fan, obviously, just coming from Los Angeles, I've always I have love for the Dodgers. Yeah. But it was cool to see.
I'm sorry.
So but Highland Park is like the destination for like Dodgers. Like a lot of people go in there and we'll have a pint, before the game. They do a lot of Dodger themed stuff, whether it's beer or merch. A lot of the shirts are like Dodger kind of themed or incorporate some of the logos and whatnot. But it's a cool spot, man.
It's okay, I'll let it slide because I like Timbo Pills.
Yeah, hey, Timbo Pills is incredible. Okay, when I was there too, I had their holiday ale, and it was like, shit, man. It was like some weird shit. It was like, they called it like tree water or something. I forget exactly what it was called, but basically like alluding to the fact that it was like the water in the base of like, like the tree like where you would, and it tasted like if you, and this may either like perk you up or might like gross you out, but it tasted like if you drank like when you finish a pickle jar, and you drank what was left in the pickle jar, it was like just like fermented like pickle juice. Like, oh wow, it was nuts. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it was kind of good. But they do some incredible stuff. Oh, we got a little more here.
We do. We might regret it later. A 13.5%. Hunter's coming back. He got himself a box of Cheez-Its. He's really taken to the producer role well.
He's pretty good. I'd hire him.
Yeah. He might drink and eat all your profits, but he's doing a good job.
Might drink your beer and eat your Cheez-Its, but he'll do okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah. No, this beer is phenomenal. Highland Park is like you said, probably one of the top breweries in Los Angeles County, and a huge following. People from all over the world, all over the country, they know of Highland Park. Like I said, they were at Irie Jungle in Miami, which is crazy. I just remember too, we were there, is Brandon Gray and myself, and I was like, Brandon, Highland Park's here. And you could tell he was like nerding out. Like, even though we had, we've been around the block when it comes to, breweries, and we've been to a lot of breweries, but we still geek out over certain, breweries or brewers. And, you could tell like he was just like all in. He was there, and he kind of geeked out with, the brewers. Actually, we went to a, industry party at Unseen Creatures, and he was talking to one of the brewers there from Highland Park, like totally geeking out. It was kind of cool experience for him, I'm sure. Because we've sat down with some of the really cool breweries around the country, and that's his. Everyone's got their favorite. I feel like if you asked me, it'd be hard for me to tell you what my favorite brewery is, because I love so many. But I've had my geek out experience for sure on the show over the years, and it was really cool. Some of the episodes that we did this year that I kind of geeked out with. 14 Cannons was a cool one. Because I didn't think I'd ever make it out that far, and it was cool to do that episode, and to see. Obviously you saw me getting all like, I was like, okay, cool, the beer's cool and everything, but I was like in the back there, like when he was giving us a tour, and like I saw the RO system, and I was like, oh my God, look at that. And you're probably like, what is that? Like, I don't get it. Why is Justin so excited about that like weird tubing system back there? Like, it's just certain things like that. It's just been cool to be a part of this, show, something that Josh and I started. And, we've been to some pretty cool places and seen some cool things and met some great people. So
totally. Yeah. Made me think of Dos Desperados out in San Marcos. Yeah. Like probably one of the coolest decors I've seen.
Yeah.
In any brewery. It's like old Western themed.
Yeah.
And really good beer too.
Yeah, dude. Hayden, the head brewer there, like, it's just, that's a cool story in itself too. Like, he was went to the local college there playing baseball, and
baseballer beer.
It was he was working at the what was it, the burger joint.
Five Guys, yeah.
Working at Five Guys, and that just wasn't enough for him, and he just fell in love with brewing, and took over there, and he's done a phenomenal job. Their beers are great. Mexican lager is just ridiculous. One of my favorite Mexican lagers. Yeah, we had some good stuff this year. We really did. We went to some cool places and met some cool people for sure. And then this beer, like, I would love to do an episode at Highland Park.
Oh,
that would
me too,
definitely
man.
be.
I need to. Yeah, I got to work on that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Definitely would have to figure out how we could get Brandon Gray out there, because he would definitely want to be a part of that. I'm sure. I know he's a busy man. Like, shout out to Brandon Gray. He's worked very, very hard in getting his master's degree and stuff like that, and social work, and kudos to him, because that's an admirable position. And he still has a love for beer and a passion. He's got his Cryptic Brewing stuff going on.
Cryptic,
in fact, if you guys, I'm not sure if it's out yet or coming next week. We were talking about earlier. So you did a collab with Inkful Ales. That's going to be released at our brew. So I'm really excited for him to do stuff like that, because he's a good brewer too. And he's got a lot of passion for it. And he's a fan of the game, much like myself. Like, he's like, yeah, he's a good brewer too. But at the end of the day, like, he geeks out for the Highland Park boys and everything that they do at Highland Park. And like, he'll talk till he's blue in the face about how great that brewery is.
Totally.
And this beer we're drinking right now, and through the power of technology, we lost power there for a second, and
we're back.
We're back. Thank you, Duracell.
By the spirit of baby Jesus.
That's
and
right.
Duracell. Baby Duracell.
And the spirit of Christmas.
And the spirit of Christmas.
Yes.
We're back.
Or Festivus, whatever it is that you celebrate.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Highland Park, I know, we said it, but we've used the term destination brewery a lot. I think
Yeah,
Highland Park deserves to definitely be a destination brewery. Like
100%.
Oh, also the food, man, is really phenomenal. And what's crazy is like the menu changes weekly. Like if you have something there and you're like, that was delicious, I want to go have that again, you probably won't be able to go get it again, but you'll be able to get something like equally as delicious. They're constantly innovating, constantly trying new things.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the spirit, not just, of the food, but also of the beer. They're like, you mentioned Timbo Pils before, their Pilsner, which is, pretty renowned and beloved, and, we both love it.
Yeah.
But they really don't brew a lot of the same stuff, man. Like even the beer we're drinking now, I bet you that's a one-off. They'll never brew again.
Right.
They just they're constantly just kind of trying new shit, innovating, experimenting, having fun. And I feel like that's probably why, or at least part of why the beer is so good, because I feel like they're a very open-minded brewery. There's literally like nothing that they won't try, nothing that they won't do. We've talked to a lot of breweries and brewers that are like, these are my go-tos. This is what I like to brew. This is what I'll brew because my customers like it. And here's the styles that I won't brew. Here's the things that I don't like to do. And it's like, I feel like at Highland Park, like they're just like, fuck it, we'll try whatever, man. Like let's
they'll brew anything.
Let's do some crazy shit, like that's almost cool. like tripping animals. I feel like is another example of that, where it's like, what's the craziest thing we can come up with, and let's make it delicious.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to the boys and girls out at Highland Park Brewing in Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles.
I like that.
Well,
that's good.
We have one more. I'm still finishing up my.
We do have one more. Got
our
assistant,
our bottle opener.
Be careful with that one, okay?
Okay. Let me help. Let's do it together, Hunter.
Yeah.
Let me. I know you can do it, buddy. Let me.
It's a big one.
Let me give you.
Let Brandon give you a hand. Did he just do it all by himself? He did do it all by himself. That's scary. Good job. Our 5-year-old producer, Hunter Jackson, has cracked open our last beer of the show.
Nice job, buddy.
This beer is, I'm excited for this. This was a gift from Ironfire.
Yes.
Hunter Bear had to say yes. This is cranberry pancakes. This is a holiday inspired beer as we get towards the end of the show.
Let me clean your glass here.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's cranberry pancakes from Ironfire Brewing, Temecula, California. I'm excited for this. For us, it's this is a ale brewed with cranberry, apple, and bourbon barrel aged maple syrup. So I think this is more of a barrel aged version of what we had earlier. It was a gift to us from Ironfire. Definitely check out the brewery in Temecula, California, as Brandon pours this beautiful brew. The color that we're experiencing is not much like the holiday hijinks that we had earlier. This is more of a beer colored beer. But on the aroma, Brandon, when you pour yourself some, give no, Hunter. Our assistant is
he's stealing the beer.
He's trying to steal beer.
Yeah. Okay. Let me.
It definitely has a cranberry. We'll let Brandon finish up his Highland Park beer, and then move into the good stuff. Have a seat, buddy.
Okay. So gift from
a gift from Ironfire.
Thank you,
and
Ironfire.
What a gift it is.
Wow. So this So what style of beer is this? Because this is pouring very interestingly. Let's see. Ale brewed with cranberry, apple, and bourbon barrel aged maple syrup. Whoa.
I'm gonna go,
mama.
I'm gonna go with this is like riding the line between a sour and a beer, and when you taste it, you'll see why. This is really good. This is very similar to the holiday hijinks, flavor wise, with all the different kind of like spices and the cranberry juice and stuff like that, but with a subtle twist. The maple that you get on it, I think, just really adds a really amazing character to it.
That aroma is something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, the aroma is very similar to that one that we tried earlier.
Yeah. That's good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's really good. Ironfire. Come on, baby, light my Ironfire.
Wow. So cranberry pancakes. Okay, yeah. I definitely, yeah. It really starts off heavy on the cranberry, the fruity, the sweet, and then it takes you on the journey to pancake and maple syrup.
Yes. This is a wild beer, man.
I can't believe like they achieved all this shit in a beer. And going back to the first one too, like crazy tasting notes.
That's really good.
No.
Hunter.
No.
You're good.
No more, dude.
Yeah. Wow. And ABV is not entirely too high on it. Looks like it's 6%. It's hard to tell.
No, I believe it.
Just the flavor though. I really like that subtle at the end. Like you say, pancakes. You know?
Yeah, it's like it's not just maple syrup. Like the maple syrup is accomplishing not just maple syrup or like that mapley desserty taste, but you do get a little bit of that cakey like yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's different. So two bangers from Ironfire.
I'm really impressed, man. I got to make my way to Ironfire.
You know, it's funny. Prior to and not just this episode, but before, like we had their red velvet. For me, like my experience with Ironfire over the last few years or so, their traditional beers are solid, and that's what I've kind of known them for. But yeah, their weird shit apparently is really good too.
Yeah, see, and I've only had the weird shit.
Yeah,
so I need to go and try their their beer tasting.
I was actually talking to the head brewer there, and we'll do an episode there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, we totally should.
That way you can see like all their range, as far as everything that they brew there, and this was a special Christmas episode, so we had to have Christmas themed beers, and I'm very thankful. They gifted us this cranberry pancakes bottle. That was really cool. Of course, I was going to support them either way, regardless. As holiday hijinks, I like that. It's different. It's not beer. It's that holiday cranberry juice kind of holiday warmer, as they call it. But this one, the cranberry pancakes, I appreciate it. It's just a different flavor, and I like how you get hit with that cranberry, but then at the end, you're like, tastes like pancakes.
Yeah, exactly. Like right at the end. And there's nothing about it that tastes like artificial. Like all of their beers have tasted like just super like natural and like it not like crazy adjuncted. Like it just feels like they're just like really
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. I'm looking just like a couple other like shout outs of like great episodes we did this year. Obviously with the homies at Creative Creature.
That's cool.
Close friends of you, of course.
Yeah.
Your old stomping brewing grounds.
Mikey, Simba.
Mikey, Simba, Derek, all those guys are awesome. I think Mikey might be like one of my favorite brewers in the game. I think he's
such a cool dude.
Such a cool guy, man. He's so shy, so humble.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody more nervous to pick up a microphone.
It was good that we had Simba to kind of warm him up a little bit. But,
right.
He definitely he started off a little shy, but he warmed up as the show went on. And he's such a great brewer. He's just like, obviously he's an old soul.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
he's just shy and just really, he's a cool dude. And I'm very happy to have known him. I'm happy to know Derek at Creative Creature. Obviously, we started a partnership over, in the last year since April when we launched our beer brand. And, we got a lot of stuff coming up here in the future. Hopefully the tap room, we can get that figured out. And those are great guys down at Creative Creature. They got a lot of big stuff coming up here in the future for them as well. So nothing but the best to Derek and Mikey and Simba and all the folks at Creative Creature. So I'm really excited for them.
What kind of madman brews like an Earl Grey beer?
He's definitely a different character. Man? Yeah, that between that and like the Radlers that just came out, and his Shandies and different things. Like he's just, like I said, he's a different dude, and he likes to what do they call that? Fuck around and find out. That's him in the brewing industry, and he has more hits than he does misses, and he's just doing a good job. So
yeah, I believe it. I mean, look, like they're obviously not going to put anything in the tap room that's not good. Yeah, but I just can't believe like the experimental crazy like spirulina, like just like almost like smoothie, like health food, like shit you wouldn't think you'd find in a brewery.
He definitely would be the type of brewer that would brew Josh and I's freaking crazy ass turmeric ginger beer.
Yes, totally. But yeah, I have so much appreciation for him. Somebody I don't know. I just personally am always like anybody that's like thinking outside the box, doing weird, crazy shit, and doing it at a level of excellence that he's doing it at.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for BeerDad's Beer Works to be in there, because I just feel like you guys are together gonna provide something that's like really special and unique, because Creative Creature is gonna provide those creative creatures, crazy beers, the wild shit. But as we when we were in there, we were talking to some of the beer tenders, and they were like, one of the things that we kind of struggle with is like, we have clientele that come in and they want more of the traditional beer.
Yeah.
And, we have that a little bit to an extent. Obviously they do like a little bit of IPA, and they do, some of those more traditional styles, but not a lot,
Right.
It's mostly, sours or, smoothie type beers, like the crazy shit we were talking about.
Right.
They don't have like, what BeerDad's Beer Works is going to offer, what more of your style. So I think you guys are going to be a really cool and great partnership. And
I'm looking forward to the future. 2024 is going to be an interesting year for not only the podcast, but with the beer company, and hopefully we get that launch off and get a tap room open, and that's what I'm looking forward to. What we do here on the BeerDad and Brew podcast will carry over into our tap room is just sharing good beer with good people. And, obviously, being of dad natured, I want our tap room to be open and inviting to everybody, everybody, whether or not you had a great dad or you had your friend's dad that you like to hang out with, that's what we're about. I don't care who you are. Obviously, there's all walks of life in this world. And for me, I want my tap room to be, this is where people want to go and experience and hang out with dad. This is where you're going to come and you're going to feel welcome no matter who you are. And you're going to enjoy good beer and good company, and maybe a few dad jokes along the way. I'm hoping we're going to have a dad joke wall in the tap room where, like the chalk, it'll be a chalk paint, and you'll be able to go up there and write your best dad jokes and, have a good time with that. And I just feel like, the world that we live in needs a good dad figure, right? Father figure.
Yeah.
And, I want to be that person for everybody. I want to be the local hangout where everybody feels comfortable and everybody feels welcome. And, that's my goal as far as, being a brewery and being a tap room and a local watering hole for everybody. That's what I want. That's what I envision for my company. And I know John feels the same way. Hopefully we see that come to fruition come 2024. It was supposed to happen this year, and we tried everything we could. And, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know that you have to deal with when in terms of like county, state, city, in terms of governments and getting, a tap room open. It's not easy, but we will get open eventually at some point. And I'm really excited to share my vision with the craft beer community. It's already out there and people can experience our beers. I want to shout out to all our retail vendors for BeerDad's Brewworks. We have several. They're all over Southern California. I'm very thankful for the following from the podcast. That's kind of helped with that. People knew who I am, and they were already from the get go. Like, as soon as your beer comes out, let me know, and we'll take it.
That's cool. Yeah,
without even tasting it. It could have been garbage beer. Of course, it's not. I like to think that our beer's pretty decent. Our dad bod beer does very well on the market, and we're gonna kind of go hard with that at the first of the year. You're gonna see some interesting marketing go on with that, and we're gonna try to push that really hard and to help us open the tap room because it does so well. But we have other beers out there, but our retail partners are amazing. Louis Liquor, the Craft Lounge, the Beer Farm, Marietta Liquor, Palm Springs Liquor, Castle Liquor, our number one retail store, which, believe it or not, a small little town called Hemet, California.
Oh,
I may or may not be familiar with, but I'm very thankful for them. We have Keg and Bottle. Most recently, we have the Forum Liquor out in Inglewood, Inglewood, always up to no good. We just got them. They're right across the street from SoFi in the Great Western Forum.
Yeah,
so
that's so cool, man. Yeah.
I'm really happy to bring our beer out to Los Angeles. Because obviously the BeerDad's a Charger fan, and Chargers play right there at SoFi Stadium, so I'm very happy to share beer with them as well.
Yeah, that's really awesome, man. Yeah. Really, really proud of everything that you and John have, been able to do this year. And like I said, I think you and Creative Creature are like such a great partnership, and a great yin and yang, and going to be able to provide all the beer needs that any beer
symbiotic
lover
relationship. I feel we're kind of the yin and the yang.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Yeah, I think we'll have big things here in 2024. Like I said, the tap room is the biggest thing for us. Getting that open and sharing my vision of what I want to see for the company, and just going from there. And I want to, this is our kind of year-end episode. I want to, go into our listeners. This is something that's very important to me. This show started with Josh and myself, and we excuse me, we wanted to. It was funny when I told him about my idea about the show. I was like, let's do a show and we'll talk about home brewing, we'll talk about craft beer. Maybe we'll travel, maybe we won't, we'll just see where it goes, where it takes us. But the main thing, and I just had this vision of, I didn't want to have a format. I didn't want to be every other craft beer podcast that's out there where they have like a set format, like from the first 15 minutes, we need to do this, this, and this. We need to talk about this. We need to do this. We need to do that. And then from here, we're going to interview this person. We're going to go to the, I didn't care for that. And something that I've always valued and always loved about beer in general is how it brings people together, and how, you go to a beer share with your buddies. All you do is just shoot the shit, kind of like what we've been doing, and that's what I told Josh. I didn't want a format, and I think that's what helped us become so successful so quick, and like you say, spotlighting these breweries that people maybe have never heard of. We got really big really quick during the pandemic because we were out there supporting these breweries that had no business because of sanctions that the government had put on, breweries and brew pubs and stuff like that. And we just wanted to tell people, hey, listen, you can go support these places. Don't go to your liquor store and buy Coors Light, Bud Light, Budweiser. Don't do that. Yeah. We want you to go to your craft lounges, your bottle shops, your liquor stores, your breweries, to support the small businesses that make these beers for your communities. Support them, because small businesses, as a small business owner, and with the podcast, like, we rely on the little sales that we get, and it's hard to compete with the big beverage companies. You know, they can mass produce things and charge way less than we can charge. But what we like is, let's talk about the beer. Let's share the experience with people and get you to like the beer that we have. And it just evolved over the years. You know, I love this. I love the community that we've kind of built, and our listeners are a big part of it. I mean, we have listeners all over the world. It's just so crazy. Like, that's one of the part we were talking about, not wanting to hear our own voices. But when I go onto Buzzsprout and I look at our demographics and I look at the downloads, it's just so cool to see that people are listening to us in Brazil, in Germany, in Japan, China, the UK. We've even got, over the years, listeners in Dubai and different places. It's like, man, this is really cool. And it's probably cool for you too to know that people are listening to your voice, like in random countries, and there's one of our steady listeners that listens to us in Europe. Just the compliments that we get in either the DMs or anything that we receive, from all our fans and stuff like that. It's really cool, very humbling. Like, that's what I like. I think that's great.
Yeah, man. I got 3 points that I want to hit here because first of all, just appreciate everything you said. That's really beautiful, man. And I'm sure you feel super proud of like the community that you've cultivated, and through all the years on this podcast, which feels crazy to say because it feels like it just started, yesterday. But yeah, I mean, like when I discovered this podcast, I was just kind of like looking for like a community or, some sort of outlet, because like I don't have like a lot of people in my personal life that enjoy beer the way that I do.
Right.
And I've talked about it on the show before, but yeah, I really, loved hearing those early episodes with you and Josh, and then with Brandon Gray. It just was like listening to like two buddies, just have the same passion that I did.
Yeah.
And made me like feel like, oh shit, like there's people out there that, love beer the way that I do. And I don't have to be like ashamed or feel weird about it. And I think, that's what people are finding with this podcast, hopefully, is like, hey, there's, beer can just connect people. And, yeah. And another thing, just, going back to what we were talking about in terms of, finding those breweries in, your area, whether we have, whether you drive 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, there's that brewery in your area. But for anybody that listens to this, that has the, ability to travel, wherever you travel, there's probably also that brewery, whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe not even, maybe you're staying, at a place that walking distance has a brewery. And I know you and I have had, the great, fortune to be able to travel to places where there's like breweries close by. But that's one of my favorite things to do when I travel, is like find those little breweries and like hopefully, kind of spotlight them, or just give them that patronage of like, hey.
It's always fun, Amber always will accuse me whenever we go on a trip, like, hey,
I know where this is going.
How is it that you found this random brewery wherever we're at, because like I say, I love this industry. I truly believe, and I've said this many times on the podcast, craft beer is world peace. You can, no matter how you slice it, no matter if someone tells me they don't like beer, I will find a beer you like, and we will have some great conversation while we're having and tasting these beers.
Yeah.
No matter what walk of life you are, you could be a crazy, political spectrum from one side of the world to the other. It doesn't matter. Josh and I, we were politically polar opposites, but we were best friends. he didn't care for one person, I cared for the other, or vice versa. And it was one of those things where when it came to beer, that's all we talked about. And like world events just kind of was a secondary thought about it. That's one thing that I really feel like in the political spectrum is lacking here in the United States. Like it used to be much like how Josh and I could get along. Like that was how it was in America, where you could be a Democrat, a Republican, a independent, a nonpartisan, doesn't matter who you were, whatever spectrum, everybody got along. And I feel like in the last like decade or so, that's been a thing where I almost feel like they turned it into wrestling. Bad guys and good guys.
Yeah.
You like the bad guys, you like the good guys. We can't get along. We can't be friends, And it's been ridiculous, I thought. And it was just really cool for Josh and I, who had two totally politically beliefs different from each other, beliefs in terms of religion that were different from each other. It didn't matter. We were best of friends. And because of craft beer and home brewing and stuff like that. And I feel like that's the way the world should be. And it's not. And that's why I feel like we need to continue this show, because we can bring people together. Like, again, people from all walks of life can still be friends. Like I can remember a time, like I remember when I was a child, like my parents could be friends with somebody that are totally different. Like you could be a Democrat and a Republican and be friends. And I feel like that's not a thing right now in 2023 going on 2024. If you're a Democrat, you can't be a friend with a Republican. And I think that's ridiculous. Like it shouldn't be a thing. To me, you shouldn't label yourself as one or the other. Who cares who you want to vote for? And I've kind of been like, and I can't label myself as one or the other. I've always voted for whoever I feel is the best candidate.
Yeah.
I mean, for the longest time, I was a registered Green Party person, and that was not because I was a hippie. That was because I hated getting all the shit in the mail when it come terms of election time, because the Green Party, the hippies, they don't believe in killing trees. So it's like you don't get shit in the mail. You get everything in email.
That's
and
so
I can
funny.
easily send that to the inbox or the delete,
That's so funny.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like you can get a table of all walks of life. I could have, a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, a Satanist, a Christian, all this stuff at one table, and we could just bond over beer.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the way America used to be, and we need to go back to that. I really do. And I think that craft beer and home brewing can do that, because the more people that get involved in this industry and take part in it, you could discover that there's something for everybody. And I feel like that's why you can have all walks of life. I can sit at a table. I can go to a place like the Craft Lounge in Beaumont, California. We love you, Jimmy. You can go there and you can order something that you like. I can order something that I like. And we can sit down, we can talk, and we can have a conversation. We could play a board game. We could watch sports on the TV, whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, no matter if we have our differences, we can still be friends.
Right. Still drinking the same thing, even though it's different. We're still drinking either an ale or a lager. You know? And it's just
something.
Us,
IPA, hazy, stout, porter.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite T-shirts that I own, and I've seen it around, is the Celebrate Diversity T-shirt. And it's not the diversity you're thinking of. It's a beer shirt, but it basically spotlights all the different styles of beer. And that's true in life. Diversity is important, right? And that's why we're, America. We are so diverse as a nation. We need to go back to that. It used to be not a black and white, but an American thing. Like, we didn't matter who you were. I mean, I grew up with all kinds of different races, and I feel like in the last decade, it's, I don't know if it's the media. I know the media plays a big part in it, but everyone wants to separate everybody so much.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I just wanted to go back to where we were. I feel like the 90s was such a good time. Like the early 90s, late 80s, nobody hated each other. Nobody fought with each other. There were no riots. Like, there were the LA riots. But we're so divisive or, separated these days. And I feel like, this industry is the perfect place to bring people together. And that's like I said, my tap room, I don't care who you are. if you like craft beer and you want to come and feel welcome and have a father figure or a dad to be there to comfort you and welcome you to their business and tell you a dad joke to make you laugh because you're having a bad day, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And that's what this podcast is all about. It's about uplifting and telling the stories of our brewers and our owners of breweries and spotlighting local small businesses. And, that's what it's all about. Like listening to Don's story that we heard earlier today. He's got so much experience in as far as a brewer and, the things that he's gone through and stuff like that. It's really cool to hear the stories. Like we heard beer stories. Like, how did you come up with that name?
Yeah. Yeah. He had some cool stories. Yeah, man. No, I really appreciate, what you said. And I don't know, I guess, we're all going into a new year here, and, maybe the best way to fight all the divisiveness and, all the sort of anger and, maybe just, give like a completely opposite opinion that you have a chance, whether that's like in a beer or a political opinion or a food style, like just try something
Let
new.
it go. Just
try maybe try something new, try something different, listen to something that you're like, that you think you hate or that you do hate.
I feel like the biggest thing is to be neighborly and understand that people have different beliefs. And if you don't believe in what I believe in, doesn't mean I have to hate you. Right? I can be friends with somebody that doesn't agree with the things that I agree with. But at the end of the day, I know that they're not going to try to change my beliefs. They're not going to tell me how to raise my children. They might raise their children differently, but I think at the end of the day, it's our decision as a individual, and in this industry, has that ability to bring in those different walks of life. And it doesn't matter that like we're non-discriminative. I really feel, there were a couple breweries here and there that maybe had, this is the way it is. And I feel like they've been shut down. But this show is definitely about bringing people together and bringing them into the craft beer industry and home brewing and learning how to home brew. I'm telling you right now, for the listeners, if you are working in an industry like a first responder where you hear and see some of the most horrific shit you've ever seen in your life, this truly, I feel, I can wholeheartedly say that this saved my life. I really do. Working on the ambulance, I can tell you that I saw some shit that I don't wish on anybody. And, working as a 911 dispatcher, I've heard some shit that I don't wish on anybody. And nothing makes me happier than doing this podcast, talking to brewers, brewing beer. Like, I feel that's my outlet. So if you are in that industry, and it doesn't have to be a first responder, there's some stressful jobs. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be in sanitation. You could be a taxi driver. Your life could be stressful, but this is an outlet, and you don't have to be an alcoholic to be into craft beer, right? Some people, it's just an alcoholic. Well, I can tell you when I go, out with my family and I go to a brewery, there's good food. There's food. I have fun with the kids. They have giant Jenga games and all this kind of stuff. And no, I don't drink to get drunk. I drink because I enjoy the process and the science behind brewing and stuff like that. It's just an industry that I feel like can bring people together and save lives. So if you're looking for something to do as a hobby, get into brewing. We need more brewers. We need brewers from all walks of life with different perspectives, right? We don't need the same brewers. We need all kinds of diversity in this industry because everybody has a different palate, a different vision, a different style.
Different ingredients that they bring from their backgrounds, their cultures, their nationalities, their countries, and that's one of the, really cool things that we've gotten to experience too doing this show is like trying like Filipino style stuff. At Harlan. Yeah, exactly. Or just, like Mexican style stuff at Cerveza in Las Vegas. And, it's just some of the other cool stuff. Like there's so many other examples out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, Yeah, there's one. As we're wrapping up, there's one other shout out that we both would be remiss without bringing up is Terrell from Excluded.
Yeah.
That was also a really cool episode. Really appreciated hearing from him, and I think that's a really cool service that they're providing out there, just making craft beer more accessible to more people.
Yeah.
Whether you're gluten intolerant or have a sensitivity, and if you have an appreciation like Terrell did, appreciation for craft beer, and then found himself, as we get older and our bodies change, we all of a sudden, beer might have been okay, or gluten rather might have been okay one day, and then you wake up one morning and you're like, whoa, okay, I can't do that anymore.
Absolutely.
So that's really cool that the service that him and the whole Excluded team are providing with their app and website. So yeah, I just want to shout them out because that was a really cool episode. I really appreciated hearing from him. If you haven't heard that episode yet, I recommend going and checking it out, or at the very least, just checking out the Excluded app.
That's cool. I'm glad you brought that up, and I almost forgot about that, but that's really cool because I had been talking to him for a while, and once he started the app, about doing a show with us, and I'm glad we were able to bring that to our listeners because, again, in terms of diversity, in this industry, there's people that couldn't partake in the craft beer industry, and I want them to, and he's doing a service to people that can't normally drink a lot of the different beers and styles that we can appreciate and love, because of their either gluten intolerance or just they flat out can't have it at all. And he's bringing in an app for those people that can't do it, and hey, you can. There's places, right? We had some of those beers. They can get on this app and be like, I'm in this city. I'm going to look up and see where I can go and enjoy these beverages. And so I thought that's really, really cool. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to Terrell and that whole operation. That's really cool what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm stoked. We did a lot of stuff over the last year here on the BeerDad and Brew podcast, and I'm looking forward to what we come up with next year in 2024. I'm very thankful for all the shows that we did this year. I'm thankful for our listeners, our day one listeners. We have a lot of people that have listened to the show from its inception. Well, with all that being said, like I said, it's been a great year. I'm looking forward to the next year that we have here in the BeerDad and Brew podcast. And, thank you for being part of the show. It's been a fun run this year in 2023, and can only look forward to what we have going on in 2024.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. It's been an honor to be a part of the show. So many great times this year, and so many great times coming right around the corner. So cheers to everybody out there, and drink some good beers, stay safe, enjoy some good time with friends and family, and we'll see you in 2024.
Absolutely. Sounds like a plan. With that being said, this is a great time to bring Grandma in.
I think so. Yeah.
Grandma's been waiting. She's been like, "Oh, come on, guys."
She's been hiking around in Idlewild and getting cold, and let's bring her in, warm her up.
Bring her in. All right, Grandma, take it away. Cheers to the BeerDad and Brew podcast listeners and all of our guests that we've had in the last year. Cheers to everybody. All right, Grandma, take us home.
They also practice by drinking the urine of a ram.
The what?
They drink ram's piss.
Because of the pH balance?
No, because if you can drink ram's piss, fuck, you can drink almost anything.
She said fuck.
Oh, what is the malted liquor? What gets you drunker quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer! Can't get enough of it. Beer! How we really love it. Beer! Makes me think I'm a man. Beer! I could kiss and hug it. Beer! But I'd rather chug it. Beer! Cut my belly out to here. Beer! I could not refuse it. Beer! I could really use a beer. Beer! 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 I can't remember how much I have had. I drank a 12-pack with my dad.